This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. Hey everybody, we've got Colleen Fitzpatrick here on the other screen, but let me just set up this one screen really quick here. Kind of the last minute adjustment there, and there you go. All right, so turn down the music, and here is Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick with Identifinders. And I'm way up in the air and all kinds of weird stuff going on here. There it is.
How's everybody doing?
How's everybody doing? But how are you doing is what we want to know.
Well, I'm doing fine. You know, there's just so much to do. Yeah, we're doing fine. You know, we're coming down the home stretch with the Bibb County case, and I know everybody is really interested and anxious about that. I thought we got the data out of the sequencing lab this week. I thought I saw an email, but if I didn't, they're going to start it in the beginning of the week. So we're coming down to maybe a couple of more weeks after all this time. So we really appreciate everyone's, really real patience and, in all this and sponsorship, that you guys, the freaks, have provided. It's going to be really exciting to finally find out, what's going on.
Yeah, no, it's been, and we're still adding money, for the next case, right?
Yeah, right.
So
right.
we just kind of keep putting in the majority of the money goes into the fund, but we're still also helping out other charities as well. So. Yeah.
Oh, there's Allison. Hey, Allison.
Oh well, there you go.
There she is.
She never watches my show, but when you're on, she's there every time.
She does. You see, I have my bodyguards, my backup team, so I'm glad to see you, Allison. I hope you're feeling better. She had some new glasses that were kind of getting to her, so.
Yeah. Well, everybody, you have to be nice to Colleen now because Allison's in the chat.
Yeah.
They were going to be just all over it.
Yeah, she's my bodyguard.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us, maybe you could tell us what the deal was with the first time through.
Yeah. Well, sometimes when you have a DNA sample coming through the lab, a lot of it is like gunked up with a lot of bacteria DNA. DNA is DNA, so the lab might hand us a big, like 55-gallon drum of it, and they say, well. And then we say, hey, that's great. And then we find out that it's just a little tiny drop of human and the rest is whatever it is. So in the first case, we thought we didn't have enough human in there. And there's a process that you can, and so they thought maybe it was there, but the problem is sometimes you have inhibitors because not only do you have, let's say, contamination from plant or bacteria, whatever, but you can also have chemicals that really force the DNA not to work. So, like the chemical will come on and do something with the DNA, but if there's an inhibitor, the inhibitor will gobble up the chemicals and it can't get to the DNA, or the inhibitors park on the DNA itself and don't let the DNA out the gate. You know what I'm saying? So they thought that, it wasn't enough human DNA, and that also when they put it through if it's not enough, if you got a lot of other stuff in there, you can put it through something called enrichment. And enrichment means a needle in a haystack, and the needle would be human DNA and the haystack would be the rest of it. So you move in and you have these chemicals that glom onto the needle and get rid of the haystack. So the needle sticks out and you can see it and work with it. but they said that it didn't work, that the inhibitors were coming in there and kind of messing everything up, they thought. So what we thought we'd do is try a new sample, and this time don't use as much sample, use a little bit less. And that way there's less DNA, but there's less inhibitors as well. We did that, and we got what looked like good results. Enough DNA, enough human, everything looked fine, not degraded, that it was enough to go into sequencing. And then reviewing all that again, they said, we realized that maybe the first time was all right, and we just didn't quite communicate. But the end of it is that, we had the sample already there. We had it already quality checked. All we had to do was peel off a little bit extra to do another attempt at whatever we did, the quality part of the quality check that we had to do again or something. And we didn't do enrichment in that time. It looks like that's going to work for us.
Yeah, it sounded like it was a much better place than last time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of complicated. And Hudson Alpha was on the phone with me for a long time. And even, the best people can't predict what DNA will do sometimes. There's a lot of elements, a lot of variables. It's a big molecule. There's heat, there's humidity, and when it degrades, it just degrades. So, So anyway, just the end of the story is we're going into sequencing any day now, and if it hasn't already been done, and then we're going to have some data real soon, and we're going to get to work on the genealogy. The minute that happens, we're going to tell Gray, don't worry about it. He's going to be the first one to know. Of course, he's going to get on the show and start barking about it, so everybody else is going to know about it.
Well, I'd like to actually film some of that. I think it'd be kind of interesting for people to see what's going on in the background. Of course, you have to blur out stuff and whatever, but I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I don't know if that's possible.
You mean on my laptop? Sure.
Well, let's say we did a Zoom, and you share a screen right when we open up the GEDmatch kit and see 600 centimorgans.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we probably won't see that many, but
yeah, we can't. Well, you never know. We have had grandchildren we've had pop up. I know in one case I know about, there was a brother, and in fact I even heard a case where it was the FTDNA database, but they put the data in there that they got for the killer or whatever it was, and he was in there. He had taken an FTDNA test, and they live among us, right? Here's this guy. I don't know who it was, but let's say I heard it on the grapevine.
Yeah, not a genius move there.
Yeah, right. No, he wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer, I'd say.
Yeah, well, maybe I can't record it, but it'd be cool to be able to watch it and be able to describe to people. Is it something? Yeah. Is it something you can ask permission from the sheriff or something?
Yeah, I think we could in this case. I don't want you to broadcast anything. It's the thing.
I wouldn't want to do a live stream unless, but if I could play something that was approved, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I'd have to talk to you about it because we don't want to let out the names of the matches and stuff like that.
Yep.
And sometimes they're really hard. Like if you want to see how many centimorgans or something, it's hard to not see the rest of it. I mean, you have to put like a little peephole, and there's the 600.
Well,
and what's the rest of it?
Yeah, I've seen it. Like there's email addresses and all kinds of stuff right there. So you'd have to. Yeah, you basically would just say you'd have to have this little narrow strip of just the centimorgans. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Oh. So anyway, we're going to get there. I'm very excited. I was thinking about that today, driving around, that the day we open his matches, we'll be able to tell you, what nationality he was and maybe where he was from. Because if you look at the matches, maybe you can see, we had one case where all the matches were from Maine. So guess what? She was from Maine. In other cases, I've been able to narrow down where the guy's from, within maybe a couple of places. So that really, now going back so far, I doubt there'll be any missing persons reports to match that up with.
I'm trying out my new skills here, but the pop up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of complicated.
Yeah, we're really, everybody here is excited. We're not impatient though. I've explained to everybody, sometimes this might not even work either. But here's the thing: is we're in it for the long haul. So even if you have to go back and find another DNA source or whatever,
Yeah. Well, I think I think we're going to do fine. There's plenty of. I think we sent a tooth over, didn't we? A couple of teeth or something. And usually those yield really, really good stuff. Really well. And then we did get enough. I didn't have. I have time to look at all the metrics, but. The whole problem is we just got to wait. I hate that. We're so close. I mean, that's since 1960s, and now we're getting down to the last few days. I mean, you think 40 years, nobody would really be worried, and then you get to the last few days, and you can't wait.
That's always hurry up and wait,
Right. Yeah. So just wanted to tell y'all, I wish I had more news, but I have news that it's coming down. It's coming.
So what's going on in the Identifinders world? Anything, hint of something coming or anything? Or
well, first of all, I'm going to ISHI, the International Symposium on Human Identification, next week, and it sounds fancy, but it's like the groupies meeting for DNA, forensic DNA. I went there. I've been going 10 years, and for 5 or 6 years, I was by myself and having a good time. And now everybody's there. It's like everybody's got to go now, and I've got to find another place to go where nobody else is, so I can be by myself again.
Yeah.
So that I'm going out there, and so I'm fixing my what is it? I'm fixing my slides, my posters and stuff, and I'm getting ready to go out there.
You got some jokes
ready?
I'm going to talk. Got any jokes?
What?
You got any jokes ready? You've got some pretty good. You got to throw some in there. You're just natural, though. You're natural.
I'll think of some.
Yeah.
I'll think of some. I'm giving a talk on what forensic genealogy has revealed about about CODIS and the legal system. And it turns out quite a few people, we're catching a lot of people that aren't in CODIS. I mean, that's the point here, what's happening. Mm-hmm. So we're doing a survey on how many people never even had a traffic ticket, and you catch them because they're a murderer or rapist, and they didn't do anything. So if you didn't do genealogy, you would never be able to find them, right? Or if they died in the 1960s, 70s, and even the John Doe's here, our buddies, the Bibb County buddy here, without forensic genealogy, it would be lost. So we're doing, a survey to find out what % of these people are, otherwise never could be found. And we don't know yet. We aren't quite yet. We have 100 cases we're looking at. And let's say we get 80 something out of that. Some people have common names and whatever. But in the end, it turns out, I think it's very favorable that forensic genealogy is helping CODIS a lot, just a lot.
Yeah, I was trying to think of. I was just thinking of something, and then my mind shifted to something else. But I had something I was going to ask you just about what we were.
Yeah, well, and then there's other times when there's a big thing on owed DNA, which means people that should have given their DNA because they were in prison or because they were, sentenced to time served and go and give your DNA, but you can be on probation or something. Didn't go. So it's like, we just, I think Allison just put somewhere in the chat, not in this chat, but in our own chat, that Alaska, there was an article in Alaska that there's 21,000 people that got through the cracks and didn't give their DNA. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm somebody that thinks that every single prisoner should have to upload not just to CODIS but to GEDmatch. That should be, and then there should be a law enforcement, and then they can connect with everybody else. But also, everybody ends up being in CODIS doing this, though, right? I mean, not beforehand, but you have to upload it to CODIS to make it sort of law enforcement compliant, right?
Well, CODIS has been the backbone of human identification for 30 years. So, you can't, there was a lot of discussion a few years ago about changing it over to SNPs, but you really can't because, they have 15 million people, 20 million people in CODIS now. A lot of them are dead. A lot of them, the sample's been exhausted, even if they're still around. So altogether, it's just too much to change it over. And, you have all the policies, procedures, you have all the state by state laws on whether you give DNA or not, and so it's complicated. And, to switch that over to a whole new marker, a whole new lab test and stuff like that is going to, it's going to take a long time.
Yeah, I mean, there are cases where there's an unknown DNA sample put into CODIS. Then there's ones where after 50 years they extract a little bit of DNA from a undergarment or something, and then they upload that to CODIS, right? And then you have to go find the perp that matches up. But you guys pretty much are part of that whole process.
Yeah, well, what happens is we, in CODIS, let's say just CODIS, CODIS has two areas. One is forensic DNA samples that they got from crime scenes, and the other is the convicted offenders. And so the idea is, you have a suspect, you develop him, whatever, and then let me go back. So you have DNA at the crime scene, you collect it, you put the CODIS profile, you put it up into the forensic sample, and it's a unique profile. And then you have, when somebody commits a crime, they give a sample and it goes into CODIS too. So then somebody else comes, police department number 2, and they say, you just had a murder. So they get their DNA and they compare it to both to see if the guy committed another crime and he has not been identified, or he committed a crime and he's already in CODIS. And that way it's a 1-to-1. So the person that either the markers match or they don't. In some states you're allowed to kind of deviate and look for a really close family member, but not just about 12 states let you do that, but mainly it's 1-to-1. And so now the shift is when you do genealogy, you have many people to one. It's just not this guy and this guy, there it is. You got the whole family kind of narrowing down to that one person, and then you can give it into CODIS. So it's like a whole different paradigm.
Yeah, I guess that would make it kind of tough because you actually have to, you extract the DNA, and then you have to get a sample that's good enough. But a CODIS sample is. Have you ever solved a case where you weren't able to get a full CODIS sample, but were still able to do genealogy?
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's another advantage is that CODIS, I don't know how much DNA it requires, but genealogy, we can do that on a few cells of DNA now. It's much more sensitive. Some of it is much more sensitive. With CODIS, you have 20 markers, and if it's only partial CODIS profile, you can't upload it. There's certain regulations, where if you don't have the full CODIS profile, or it's degraded beyond a certain extent, you may have some peaks, but you can't upload it. Whereas with genealogy, you could be missing 90% of the genome, and it still works.
Wow. So how about this? Maybe we could look over this Bibb County document really quick.
Okay.
I mean, if you're interested.
Your FBI thing, I like that.
Yeah, excellent. It was kind of cool.
Excellent idea. Let's go over that.
Yeah. So hey, look at that. We're back on another screen now. Maybe I'll move it maybe a little smaller there, but so this was like an internal sort of FBI newsletter for themselves. And it has everything in there. It talks about how the subject was drowned when the automobile in which he was riding crashed through the rail of a bridge and into the Cahaba River, Bibb County, Alabama, on March 27, 1961. He had apparently been hitchhiking through Alabama. the boy had told the driver of the last car that he wanted to go to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and that he had to be at Fort Ord, California by 7 a.m. March 30th. And, you know, so it's weird because he's in South Carolina, but he sounds like he's trying to head all the way across country. And it says, so this gives you some of the other information about him, that the subject hitch rides with 3 different motorists on that afternoon of his death. One motorist, with whom it is believed he rode, reported the boy told him that his parents were separated, but that he had relatives between Montevallo, Alabama, and South Carolina. From the boy's conversation with another motorist, he could have formerly been confined as an inmate of an institution and might have been connected with the military service at the time of his death. And then there's some weird stuff, other stuff that we didn't know about in here. I mean, he was 14 to 17 years old, 5'6", really small, 125 pounds. He had a 1-inch scar above his right eyebrow, a scar on his left forehead above eye near hairline. Then he had a horizontal scar underneath his kneecap, horizontal 3-inch below his right kneecap. I mean, he had a whole bunch of just random scars. And then he had RY plus love, which you can see in this image right here, scratched on his arm. It's pretty crazy. And then there's also, it mentions the subject may have walked with a slight limp, exerting more pressure on the ball of the right foot than normal. Examination showed bones around the ankle joint enlarged due to a fracture, indicating a possible restriction of movement. So this is all stuff that wasn't going to be in the newspaper, right? So at the time of the body was recovered, the deceased was dressed in a white cotton dress shirt, light blue dress pants, and a brown leather belt with silver horse head buckle, black dress coat, and 10-inch high-laced moccasin-toed boots. I'm trying to picture that outfit.
Yeah.
You know, he wore a Timex man's wristwatch and a miraculous medal of immaculate conception tied around his neck with cotton twine. He had in his possession 1 package of Pall Mall cigarettes, 1 brown plastic billfold, a penny box of matches, and a small key. A man's ruby ring with the inscription United States Army was found in the car, and it possibly belonged to him, so it must not have belonged to the driver, or he would have said it. The subject carried a brown leatherette valise-type suitcase containing various articles of clothing. On a few articles of clothing were actually cleaning laundry tags, and they gave out all the numbers of those, stamped in a pair of black dress pants with, well, you'd think that would have led to something.
Yeah, right.
Laundry tags, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that in other cases where there was a guy in New York State that kept track of laundry tags for a long time. He finally died. His name was Yala or something, and he died, but they solved several crimes based on laundry tags.
Yeah. Well, this is him right here. The sketches of him don't do him any justice at all. They're like some of the worst sketches I've ever seen. He looks like...
yeah, right.
But when you look at this, he, looks... I think his hair's got the sort of dyed blonde, spiky stuff going on. And this is the guy right here. He's been unidentified. There was a woman that showed up to him being at the funeral home multiple times. And she came, and then but nobody could find out who that was, so they think maybe she was related to the person.
Why didn't she say anything? I mean, if it's her...
Yeah, it's just really weird.
There's no reason not to say anything. The boy's dead. Why wouldn't you want to know? And it looks like he's asleep. I mean, it looks so natural.
Let me see if it's in this one, or hold on. No, that's not it. It's in one of these, I don't know if it's... Is it this one? Yeah, circumstances. Okay, so it's right here on the doenetwork.org. I don't know if this is the one that says that there was a... a woman. I think it might be this one might be it right here. Namus. Yeah, Namus has that in there, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I read it in one of his documents where he literally, this lady shows up and was there for a long time, like way longer than most people would have been. And
yeah, right.
So they thought, well, and they kept trying to find her, but they didn't find her. Maybe she just didn't want to reveal who she was.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. And I don't know. And it's, what you got to remember, this is 1961, and they exhumed his body a couple of times, didn't they? Or the last time was in a few years ago. And, they tried to do DNA on it and they got nothing. So now, we're doing, and, CODIS has a missing persons kind of area that families donate their DNA to, but it's pretty small in comparison, probably a few 100,000 compared to 20 million convicted offenders. But and they came up, I think the last time they tried this, they got nothing. So we sent the tooth out, to Astria, and we got it all. I think that's right. Or we sent it to IMF for tissue-lyzer. Yeah, that's what we did. And then we did Astria, and we got tons of, enough DNA to really work with it. So
yeah, you got a ton of DNA, and there was a portion of it that was not good, but the amount of good DNA there was a lot of it, right?
Yeah, right. It worked out. It was, like I said, there were problems that they had a small fraction of human DNA, and then also those inhibitors. So, throughout the process, you want to you do amplification on your DNA. In other words, you start with a little bit, and you try and pump it up to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So you have more DNA to work with. You have amplification processes, and that involves throwing chemicals and heat and stuff like that in there to get it to get more. And it wasn't. It wasn't doing that. And they said, well, it's probably these inhibitors. It could be calcium. It could be collagen, which is what holds your bones together. And they just didn't know. So they said, next time, let's try it with the same sample, but don't use a lot of it. Use a little bit, and therefore the inhibitors are lower. And that seems to have done part of the trick. And then they said, well, the alignment, how much human stuff you have there is actually not so bad. So just try it as it is. And maybe enrichment wasn't the right way to go. Maybe it's just, when you do enrichment, that's a whole nother chemical process, and who knows. So we did it, and looks like it was successful.
Yeah, but you had enough to be able to try a couple angles, whatever you might need to do.
Yeah, we had plenty. I just told them, don't send any more sample. Hang on to it, and then at the lab, hang on to it until we see how this works, and it seems to have worked. So I think they still have some sample left over if we have to do it again, but I hope not. I don't think so.
Yeah, here's that part. It says, his body displayed for a few days at a funeral home where it was observed by travelers across the country. An elderly, heavyset, and gray-haired woman was noticed to have spent more time than others when viewing the body. She returned a second day in a row, but left before any information could be taken from her. So that's kind of interesting, right? Like, who would go visit a funeral home twice of somebody you didn't know, right?
I don't know.
Not many
Well,
people.
she didn't say who she was in 1961, so she's not around anymore. She's a kind of elderly lady.
Yeah. Well, maybe she's 117. I'm just kidding. Let's see.
I don't know. If she is, she's not. She doesn't know who she is, much less tell anybody.
So what have you been doing for fun lately? I mean,
that's cleaning out my closets or something. I don't know, but I'm trying to think. We get a lot of new cases in. There's so many I can't tell you about. Julie Hansen, we solved that one. We have another one we're hanging on that we solved with 30 picograms of DNA. Normally you need about a nanogram, and 30 picograms is like 30 thousandths of a nanogram. So
you solved one recently like that, right? Something really. Is that a different one? Yeah,
that was Julie.
Oh, okay.
That was Julie Hansen.
Oh, yeah.
That's the last one we announced. Sometimes the departments hold back on the announcement pending some legal stuff. So we have one holding back. Julie Hansen, we solved on, I think it was 300 something picograms, but only 30% of that was human. So, we were really kind of getting really low on the amount of DNA. And then this new one coming up, we hope to announce soon, was 30 picograms. So it's way down at the bottom. That's only the contents of a few cells.
Wow. It's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, we're doing well. We're getting a lot of new cases. We'll have some, announcements to make. We have a couple of cases we actually solved, but we can't announce, but we'll tell you as soon as we can. And, we're coming out of COVID too. So, this is the first year without COVID. So the lab cycles are picking up, so there's been some delays earlier in the year with the law enforcement, being able to get back on track. And then that translates into a little bit of lab slowness right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that they haven't completely shut everything down again. I mean, the Delta variant's almost almost just as bad as the entire.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, but we've sort of made it, finesse it in a way where we're not shutting things down like before.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's about it. Didn't you have fingerprints in that article right there by the FBI? Didn't you have fingerprints?
Maybe, I don't know.
I guess, he was so young, you couldn't really use the fingerprints.
Yeah, I don't think they have them, but they have, all these tag numbers. They had a ton of other stuff up here, like they're right here, fingerprint classification. They had. Well,
they had the fingerprints then, but that's not going to do you any good unless he robbed a bank, right?
Right.
Yeah. So.
And if he was 15. So
I'm wondering if any of the freaks just plain have. Any news on the Somerton man? Well, no, they're being very hush-hush about that one. The Somerton man, they exhumed him and they pulled the DNA, or they were doing extractions on him. And there's, I'd love to do it. I've been working with Derek Abbott at the professor in Adelaide for, 5, 6, 7, 8 years now on it. So, we hope somebody sticks their head out and says, hey, we got to sequence this guy's DNA soon. It's going to be pretty hard to do, but, Identifinders, we have the ability, we know how to really handle really degraded DNA. I think he's been buried in Adelaide. I don't know how wet that is, but my understanding is, that it's possible to get DNA out of the bones. I mean, they're not really giving up on that.
Yeah, I'm just moving stuff around, trying to open something up.
Yeah, so there's no word, but I'm staying in touch with the Australian people just in case.
Yeah, that's what I was about to do, is opening up for questions right after that.
Yeah, and I want to say that I have we do have a hand in the boy in the box, and we're making progress, with the DNA. That's very difficult because that's 1957, is it? So, we'll have an announcement when we can, on the progress we're making. And so just to mention, it's hard because these cases take so long, to get through the pipeline. Another case I'm interested in is the Isdell woman. If you've seen the show, the podcast, Death in Ice Valley, Isdell means Ice Valley. The woman who was in near Isdell, or I forget the city, but it was in Norway, and she was kind of creepy. She had a lot of wigs in her room. She had different changes of clothes, several passports, and then they found her dead on a hiking trail, and they didn't know who she was. And they went through, of course, everything she had. You have to read about that. Isdell, her body was partly burned. There were bottles of narcotics around her, medication. So it was ruled a suicide, but who knows? And I've been in touch with the Norwegian authorities on that, because they actually disinterred her a few years ago, and they got some DNA from her, I think her teeth, and I think it wound up, if I'm getting the story straight, that she was from Germany or France, somewhere in there. So we're interested in that. And I'd say the Plaza woman is also another one in Oslo that, we're looking at. But again, the Norwegians are very, very reluctant to let their DNA go into commercial databases. So that the Plaza woman was a woman found murdered in her hotel room. Murdered or suicide. It was ruled as suicide, and she had been eating dinner, and I think they found somebody heard her shot or something, but they found her, went in there, and they found her dead on the bed, like back, with a shot in her head, with her, the gun in her hand and a bullet in her head with all the blood. She had been eating her dinner when this happened, and the door was locked from the inside and so on. But there was no powder burns on her hand. There was nothing on her hand, no powder burns. So it's always, and again, she had very few clothes. She had, no ID on her. She had a gun with the number scraped off. It was an old kind of antique gun that you couldn't just find anywhere. And they thought they could identify the gun. But anyway, she's another she could be the Somerton man's wife.
That sounds a little similar to the guy, the one that I sent to the DNA Doe What was the one? The Summit County.
Summit, yeah.
Because he ground the numbers off his gun, and it looked like he killed himself, and it turns out like it's this bigger deal where he's from. They've contacted Interpol and whatnot.
Yeah, right.
Pretty weird.
I don't know. You can actually polish down the gun, and sometimes the serial number is still there. You have to really, 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 just because you can't see the number doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah, I think he did
buried in the metal.
Apparently, he did it even where you couldn't see it ever again. Like he knew that much about it.
Yeah,
but look at see the question that's on the screen there. You couldn't have
thought which one?
You couldn't. The one that I put up, the purple one on the screen. This one.
Oh, do I have a hand in the?
Yeah, don't you think? Weren't you going to make a joke about that? Just the way that was worded. I mean, that was just.
I have my finger on it. Yeah,
there was an extra hand in the box with. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no bones about it.
Let's see. Any other questions in there?
So, it's kind of, I wish I had more news, but I, wanted to tell y'all it was like moving along, and that's it. The boy in the box was in Philadelphia. It really was. And he didn't have like the Somerton man. He didn't have a suitcase or anything. He just a boy found in a Sears box somewhere near Fox Chase in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Is there any way to get living criminals' DNA and trace backwards to find and solve a case? I'm not sure what you mean, because the living criminals give their DNA. I mean, how to say this? If you find DNA at the scene of the crime, you're going to identify the guy through forensic genealogy or CODIS. So how do you want to, if you have another case, it doesn't matter how far back you go. If the DNA matches the guy you have, you don't have to trace back in any sense like that.
Now, this other question by Cold Truth says, is using DNA sweeps something that is helpful with forensic genetic genealogy?
Is using DNA sweeps, what do you mean by DNA sweeps?
Maybe it means like collecting it from a lot of people, maybe, I don't know. But.
Well, it would help if more people would test and upload to GEDmatch, but going in, that's basically what is going on right now, a DNA sweep. In other words, convincing people to do GEDmatch. That's sort of a DNA sweep. It's not necessary anymore to, like, if you have a murder in the neighborhood, to go, collect DNA from all the neighbors to see who did it. You don't have to really do the dragnet like in the old days around a certain, location, neighborhood, anything like that. You don't need that anymore. Genetic genealogy can do that for you. CODIS, you need the dragnet, but genetic genealogy, you don't.
Did they find Somerton man's granddaughter?
Yeah, well, that's kind of an interesting story, too, because when Derek Abbott went to go interview the Somerton man, there was everybody should know that there was a nurse that lived near the beach, and that she may have been involved because her phone number was in the back of that book. And so the authorities back in the 40s and 50s interviewed her, but her name was Jo Thompson, and they let her off. They didn't really, she said, I don't know the guy. There was some kind of, story where she almost passed out when she saw his bust. in the police station or something like that. So she was kind of let off the hook. But when Derek Abbott decided to check, really look into the mystery, say 20 years ago, he wanted to go interview the nurse. The nurse had an 18-year-old son at the time that the Somerton man was found. So he went to go see if the nurse was alive, her son was alive, or who was alive. It turned out the nurse had died recently, like a year or two before, and the son had died a year or two before. Okay, so that's gone. But it turned out the son had married and had a daughter. So theoretically, if this is the Somerton man's son, that should be the Somerton man's granddaughter, right? And Derek went to go interview the granddaughter because obviously she'd be the person to be able to say something. And they hit it off right away. And it turned out they got married and had 3 kids. So he may be the father of the Somerton man's great-grandchildren.
Wow.
Kind of weird, isn't it?
So they're thinking that nurse that actually bought that book for 2 different people that was...
Yeah. Arthur Boxall. Yeah, the story is that they found a piece of paper in the man's pants after they had buried him. And it had a little watch pocket with a little piece of paper in it, and it said on it, Tom and Should. And it was a great puzzle figuring out what that meant. There was a journalist in Adelaide that came up with the fact it's the last 2 words of the Rubaiyat by Omar Khayyam. So if you've ever heard stuff like, a loaf of bread, a jug of wine, and thou, I know Gray says that to his wife all the time, but, that comes from the Rubaiyat. There's a lot of, what is it? I have to think, anyway, there's many famous quotes from the Rubaiyat. It was written, like in the Middle Ages by the Persian poet Omar Khayyam. So they found this, and then they said, well, where in the world does this come from? We don't know why the man, and it really means the end, or it is finished in Persian. So people got really interested in this. How come was he murdered? Did he die? And here in his pocket, he's got a little piece of paper that said, it's finished, goodbye. So they put this in the paper. Everybody was talking about it. It's very interesting. And 2 men came to the police station a short time later and said, we were parked on the beach that night, and when we came back the next morning, there was a copy of the Rubaiyat in my back seat. And it's got the last page torn out, the little tear, and the last words are missing. And sure enough, the paper fit right into that hole. And so anyway, the book, identified itself because it's where that piece of paper came from. But in the back of the book, there was a code of weird letters, and there was also a phone number of the nurse, which led to everything else in the story. Don't leave now, Gray.
No, this light just turned on out of nowhere like a ghost.
Yeah, right.
My wife's going to get nervous because we've had some weird things lately. But
anyway. So the nurse, Derek Abbott, to go backwards, Derek Abbott married what could be the Somerton man's granddaughter. She was the daughter of who could be his son, who was the little boy at the time living with the nurse, whose phone number was found in the back of that book.
Wow.
So, yes.
Yeah, that was weird, too.
I hope that didn't put you to sleep.
Because there was another guy that apparently looked just like him, too, or something. It was really weird. Right?
Yeah, I know that one.
Well, there was 2 guys because she bought the same book for somebody else.
Well, they went to her. You see, the back then, people actually had books. People read books and carried books. And the Rubaiyat was like a love book, a love story. And it would not be unusual, that at that time with the yuppies or whatever the culture was, to have a copy of that book. And she, during her nursing in Sydney, she gave a copy of the book to somebody named Alfred Boxall that she was probably sweet on. And Alfred, so of course, when they found this book, they went to her house and it was kind of ambiguous. They said, do you recognize this book? Not do you recognize this exact book, or do you recognize the book called The Rubaiyat? And she said, sure, but it was ambiguous. So they said, do you ever see this book before? Yeah. And she said, I gave a copy to a friend of mine in Sydney, and then immediately they thought it was Alfred Boxall. So they went and found him. He was still alive and well and living in Sydney. And he had his copy from Joe Thompson, and that was it. Yeah. So that was a dead end.
Yeah. You have that one memorized. And by the way, you could never be boring. You've never put anybody to sleep on here.
Well, it's good to know, at least not on this channel.
Well, here's the thing. Dumb people, it might make go to sleep. But people that are actually paying attention, they're like, wow, yeah. Whoa, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so, there's a lot of twists and turns in that story that hopefully we can resolve. But I'm going to tell you, in the end, it's going to be a very, the answer is going to be mundane. It's some guy that died on the beach. So, there's all kinds of myths around him. He was a spy. He was working for the Russian intelligence, whatever.
He does look kind of Russian. Doesn't he look sort of Slavic, too? Like a little.
He does. He does. And, there's been isotopes analysis done on him. And I think it looked like, when you eat and drink or whatever in your hair, you analyze your hair. And if you move to a different place in the country, let's say, your chemistry of your hair changes because your water you drink is going to change, your shower is going to change, the environment changes. And they saw that he had a drop in like arsenic or something like that naturally occurring within 2 weeks. And so they figured out that he moved from somewhere else in the previous 2 weeks because it seemed like his diet changed.
I wonder who the people were that actually figured out you could do a test like that. That's pretty crazy. Well,
no, I don't think so because, you're surrounded by, natural radioactivity, just naturally.
Well, okay, people like you, it doesn't seem weird. But if I was just sitting there going, wow, somebody one day thought, man, we can test for isotopes from where they live. I don't know. That's just pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, you have to do surveys of the land to go with it. You have to match that person to the, levels of, oxygen. There's a certain amount of radioactivity in oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, just naturally occurring. And, you can match that to the kind of food people eat, the kind of water. In fact, when they did Richard III, one of the things is that they analyzed the isotopes in his body because your teeth, the isotopes are locked in because your enamel never changes. So any of the radioactivity in your environment when your teeth are forming is never going to go away. I mean, it decays, but you have certain scientific equations you can predict that with. And then they had, long bone in your bone, your femur. The long bone remodels itself every 10 years, your ribs every 2 years, and your hair on an ongoing basis.
Yeah.
So with Richard III, he died in his early 30s, I believe. They pretty much mapped his whole life in isotopes. They had his teeth, as a child, and he had long bone bringing it back into his 20s. So, and then one of the very interesting things about him is that they found high levels of oxygen isotopes in his body. And it was only for the last 2 years of his life. And they couldn't figure it out because normally you'd be drinking the water in London, right? And you could match that up with other people drinking water in London. But they figured out that because he was king, he was drinking wine. He wasn't drinking water. And that the oxygen concentration in the soil got concentrated by the grapes that went into the wine, and it was really high in oxygen. And therefore, that's another reason they knew that those remains belonged to royalty, because of the wine and the high oxygen content.
Yeah. So look, you've got about a few more minutes here. So if you do, but you probably been following that case in California, right? That hiker the hiker family. You had a father.
Oh yeah, I think so. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I'll show you on the screen right here. So they went hiking right here. This is a couple that moved from San Francisco to get away from the hustle and bustle and live out there. And they hiked, and apparently they took their baby with them, a 1-year-old baby and her dog, and they walked all the way around like this on this whole path. And then on the way back up here, it's a 2,000-foot climb, and it's 107 to 109 degrees, which is kind of strange that you're going to go hiking with a baby. But on this climb up here, they're about 1,000 feet up right here. Yeah. And they find all of them dead. The parents, the baby, and the dog. And there was a warning that there were algae blooms that were deadly in the water. But it was also 107, 109. And then they're also looking into a possibility of like a lightning strike or something. But I've seen a chart, and the lightning strikes are where this L is here. These two red dots, they're not right on here.
Well, they'd be fried if it was a lightning strike. They'd be fried.
Yeah, well, you could get that flash lightning where it would just sort of electrocute you, maybe. But I mean, what are the odds it kills everybody? See, the dog dying is weird, right? Like, what do you think about that? Yeah. Dogs live.
It's some chemical type thing that happened. The dog didn't run away, in other words.
What about heat stroke? What about a cat?
I would think that, but I would think, they wouldn't all die. It could be that the parents of the baby, got in distress and the dog wouldn't leave them. The dog sat down and barked and stuff, and nobody came.
And the parents may have died, and the baby had no way to get out.
Yeah, right? Something like that. But it could be a chemical. Maybe they drank we couldn't drink contaminated water.
Yeah, down here they could have drinking the water that was contaminated with the poisonous algae. But then
they'd find that in their bloodstream.
Yeah, they can't find anything. They've been testing their bloodstream out. Look at this name right here. This lady that just looked me.
Colleen Fitzpatrick.
Every time I see that, I think you came into the chat or something. Just for a second. Just for a second. It's weird. But yeah, I mean, they haven't found any blood. I mean, anything in their blood yet so far, as far as chemicals. It's really bizarre. Some people suggest that maybe it's a combination. They got sick. Maybe the dog got sort of sick, and then they stayed with the dog, and then the heat. Yeah. You got heat stroke because you're carrying a 20-pound baby with some. They found a little bit of water still on them too in a container. So that's one.
Yeah. Well, it could be some gas escape or something. Could it be like an eruption or poison gas or something or? Where everybody breathes the same thing.
She said, from one dance mom loving Colleen to another. Thank you for being here tonight. Really appreciate it.
That was my favorite show, Dance Moms, for a long time. But
yeah,
I go brain dead otherwise. The Great British Baking Show now, and that's some of the Netflix, Amazon stuff is good, but.
Did you watch that one? Gone. They just had that one. It was a documentary on a murder in. It was in Ireland, I think, and it was just like Sophie.
I know what you're talking about.
I think it's called Sophie or something. It was just kind of.
Yeah, I read that, and they don't know who killed her. And this one guy, they're chasing him around, thinking it's him, and he gets implicated. But it's really like the Irish villagers all kind of whispering to each other, and I know it happened. So and so told me. It's like, some other communities I know, but it's an Irish family.
It didn't really keep me riveted, though. When I was watching it, I would fall asleep to it every night, but I'd continue watching it the next night. It's not one of those ones where you just can't wait to, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there's a show on Ted Bundy's girlfriend has now, really given interviews. She was trying to put that behind her. And her daughter is there too, because he was very close to her daughter. And also she, she said at the end, they went through the whole thing and explained that, the day that he was over at Lake Sammamish and he killed those 2 girls, he came in later and he, wanted a hamburger. He was hungry. He just put it behind him, and he just got back into life again. And they said at the end that Ted Bundy actually wrote her mother a letter at the end, right before he was executed. And the daughter intercepted it and never gave it to her mother, and she burned it. And, finally, kind of right going into the program, she told her mother that. She said that she didn't want Ted to get his hooks into her again, because she was very, she was in a relationship with him. She didn't know the bad side. She was very close to him for a long time. And she didn't want her mother to get, kind of mentally involved with the guy that was going to be executed. So she just burned the letter. He was going to say how much he loved her and stuff like that. And she didn't want her mother to have to live with that. So in the end, the mother said, his girlfriend, whose name I forget, said, I just hope that now this is the end. This show, I'm putting it behind me and I can go on with my life. It's out of my life. I really have made it official.
There was one technical question up here. It said, how do they separate mixed DNA?
It depends on the mixture. If you have, let's say, a killer and a woman's DNA, there's like, if it's, so terribly in favor of the woman, the ratio of the woman to the man is 100-1, let's say, it's pretty tough to separate that. But you can do Y DNA on it, because Y DNA is the only part, the male part. So you can get that out, but you really need to have better ratios. You need to have the killer to have more of the DNA than the victim. And what you do is, whatever markers you use, you process the mixture, then you process the victim, and you do a subtraction, and you should be left with just the killer. And that's what we did with Barbara Blatnick. We had her, her DNA from the crime scene with the killer mixed with her DNA, and it was 60% killer, 40% Barbara. So we got Barbara sequenced, and we had somebody subtract out the mixture to take out Barbara, and so we had the killer on GEDmatch.
And a lot of people share DNA. I mean, you share like 90-something%, right? So it's just that other part that you're separating. You're separating a known sample, and then whatever left is the other. Yeah.
Right. You can do that too. It's sort of a little bit different idea, but that's how they kind of do paternity testing, because you have the baby with mom and dad, and you subtract mom out, you can get dad. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, check it out. We're on an hour. I know you got something you got to get ready.
Yeah, I have a few things to take care of. I just wanted to drop in and just talk for a while. I haven't been around. Just chat, just say hi, throw in a few pearls of wisdom. And yes, I have seen The Waking of Ned Devine. Of course I have.
Well, it's never just a few pearls. It's always like way more pearls than.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to go. I hate to do that because I love sitting in with the freaks, but this time I'm going to have to. But
yeah, it's okay.
We'll keep you updated on Bibb.
We'll get you on here not too far from now, maybe on a more relaxing.
Won't be too far when we have some more to talk about.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Bye, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Hold on. All right. Well, that was Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick. Always
this video.
Oops, sorry. Always awesome. I mean, she's always really interesting, even if it's not the whole 3 hours. That was pretty crazy. So many little things that people don't really think about when you're thinking about DNA. People just kind of assume different things. Oh yeah, or they're not curious to ask the questions, right? So that was pretty cool. Let's see. But I actually have other stuff that I can talk about, so you know what I'm saying? But thank you again, Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick of Identifinders International, and Allison, thanks for showing up. And good luck in all the different cases that you guys are working on. Yeah, there's definitely a backlog. The whole COVID thing made it so a lot of testing couldn't be done. Well, did you guys find that interesting? She always thinks that she's not interesting. Like, oh, I hope I didn't bore anybody. No. Pretty much the opposite. But unfortunately, tonight, again, like I say, the Summer Wells case sucks the oxygen out of the room, and instead of people watching something that's actually interesting, they're staring at a screen with people talking about the same damn thing over and over and over again. It's mind-boggling. Yeah. And for me, that's frustrating. Right? Because I try to do true crime the right way, but apparently you have to be a suck-up and cover the same damn case every freaking night so that you can be part of this wave of something. And I'm just not interested in that. Now, if there's something that I find out that's interesting, I'll cover it. But, wow. Whew, yikes. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Alright, what do we got here? It's not really organized too well. But again, if you guys would like to help the channel out and also be part of, like I said before, I donate 40 to 50% of the revenue from the entire YouTube channel to various charities, and we've donated $16,000 to Identifinders, Colleen Fitzpatrick, where she started that company. And I mean, that's not where she started, but she started the company. And we've done 16,000, so we've even started building up. Part of that is for another case, but the 1961 Bibb County hitchhiker case was the one that we were talking about, and it's in the sequencing stage right now, I believe, where the next step is sending it off to a company that formats it, or it might even be in that stage, I can't remember, but they format it to a so it fits on, goes into the GEDmatch system. So when you sign up for people like 23andMe, Ancestry.com, at the very end, you can, once you're uploaded there, you can download a raw data file, and then that file format you upload to GEDmatch. Well, this company is able to take DNA sequencing, like after you've sequenced it, and format the data to match one of those services so that you can bypass them and then upload it to GEDmatch. And then that's how the kit gets uploaded, and then you start trying to find the match. Yeah. Thank you, KDB. Yeah, so we're not only doing Identifinders, though. We've done 16,000 to them. Libby Nabby Ballpark, 1,500. Like I said, the DNA Fund, 16,000. Texas Equisearch, we've given 3,800.
Jumping
the Innocence Project, 1,000.
Getting attention.
Actually, Polk County, just the other night, 500. The Charlie Project, I think it was last night actually. Charlie Project, 500. And then RAIN, which is Violence Against Women, $3,000. And National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, 4,200. And the only way we're able to do that is because of you, the freakazoids. Okay? That's it. All right. Harding awesome. Freaking awesome. Oh, I see. Yeah. Thanks, Cold Truth. KDB, and welcome, Jojo Peanut. Yeah. Yeah, she's amazing. Yeah, she's been on here for a couple hours, 2.5 hours before. She's preparing for something. I don't know. She's probably pretty busy with work. Heard another what? What are you referring to, Emily? Kathy Freidenmaker, thank you. All right. Yeah, maybe she'll look into that. I mean, the hitchhiker, I mean, she's a DNA person, you know. But she also likes a puzzle, so maybe, sounds like she's in the hiking deaths. She seems to think it may just that quickly that maybe it's a chemical of some sort, and that would make sense, right? Maybe the algae. Well, hopefully you're just any case that we're doing, Plato, not just that one. Yeah. Because we're also funding another case right now. We're paying for the identification of bodies found in the same body, but parts found in different bags in different locations at different time. But it's the same person. We're trying to identify that, and it's part of a crime, so we're probably not going to get to know much about that unless they release who the victim is to try to get some leads. Huh? I don't know what that means, Linda. Oh, yeah. Well, as long as you keep watching my channel, Hottie, because, that's one of the problems when you try to introduce people. They're not watching your channel anymore. They're watching somebody else. So we need to keep having the same people here to be able to keep doing what we're doing. So, let's see. And I don't even remember you being here until recently. Yeah. Maybe chemicals preyed on the algae to kill. What? What does that even mean? Right. What do you mean, Susan? I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's weird. My subscriber count was all the way up to like 63.8 something, and it just goes downwards. Not as many as I should, but Tyler. But I'll say it to you. You're an idiot. Okay. Let's see. Well, why not? I should start calling people stupid, though, Susan. You get what I'm saying? And by the way, it's not like the whole shows I do that. So when you make a dumbass comment like that, like, "Gosh, Gray, you're being so nice because you haven't called anybody stupid in the last 5 minutes," you sound like a troll, okay? Because that's not what I do, There might be a rant here and there, okay? But when you say dumbass shit like that, because then it matches what Tyler just said, like you're on a troll team that just shows up. Man, yikes. All right. But maybe that'll just be the show. I was going to do some more stuff, but screw it. Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm going to call you one. You are an idiot, Just Fab. How about that? Bye-bye. I mean, I just do this whole show, and then these people come in from some god-awful place. I don't know who the hell this, Susan Ricky, or whatever the hell your name is. I don't even care if you're a channel member. I mean, you're just making dumb, stupid-ass comments like that. They're not going to make you last too long on here. Okay? Hey, Gray! You're being so nice, you haven't called anybody stupid. Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe this time. Maybe I need that vacation right off the get-go here. Alright, let's see. Yeah, maybe that'll help out. That's not even it. Hey, look at that. I like that screen, though. Look at that. I got the... Here, let me go to the... There we go. Da, 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 da. Ghost Gray, you haven't called anybody stupid. Yes, if you haven't taken the... If you think the vaccine is dumb, you're stupid. Okay? I'll say it again. You got the dumbest comments in the world on that video. Yeah, like literally there's people that made comments after last night's show about how I am so... Oh, I'm like CNN, or how... I can't even explain it to you. Can't explain it. No problem, Nicole Wilson. They were really conspiratorial in their answers. Are you kidding me, Gray? You think that... Yeah, I do. Yeah. They work. Thank you, Jen B. Yeah, she was on for the first hour, but you were probably watching Summer Wells' live show, so you missed it.
Screw M. Clinking beer
Let's
mugs.
see. Yeah, you definitely should get it. Oh, look at that. Look at the... Oh, there we go. Thanks, Jen H. Just amazing. God. It's weird when you have a troll that's an actual channel member. Wow. Da, 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 da. Thank you, Linda Howell, as in Linda Molden Howell, the cattle mutilations and crop circles.
The trolls
Jiggy
couldn't
England.
shine your shoes grey.
Kathy Frieden Maker. Wild. Weird. Da, 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 da. Thanks, William Zambrano. You know, I think I'm just gonna get it. I'm gonna go have a
Tropical
one drink.
Tropical
Okay?
drink.
Screw it.
Umbrella.
Under my umbrella.
Great job. Love watching. Frozen frou-frou drink.
Hello. Yep. Thank you, guys. Da, 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 da. There we go. Yeah. Sometimes, you guys, I know it's hard, but you have to sacrifice watching a Summer Wells show just for a few minutes. Thanks, Carolina Girl. So that you might be able to watch somebody like Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick right when she's doing it, because it's better than any of that crap, okay?
Don't let them steal your thunder, Umbrella.
Nobody's stealing anything. I'm just, when you get trolls that come in here, like, even if you're a channel member and you say something stupid like that, just get the hell out of here. Not interested. Not interested. Dun, dun. Thanks, Jacqueline Keeley. And living it. As in, living the dream. I know, I always think of that, Dana Dan. That song. Living the dream.
Mankini.
Freaks. Yeah. Mankini. I don't know about that. Not sure about that one. But, yeah, I was gonna sing it, but I can't really do it. I need the music playing. Oh wait, let me fix something. Hold on. I have to fix this audio here. Might be loud. Then I can get my sound effects back. One of these days I'm going to make a Mary Lou 3D. Wow, look at this thing. Oh, looks like it, did it work? Hold on. Oh yeah, there we go. Thank you, TTJO Tracy. I was asking a question earlier tonight. What would, like, if you were an empath and you died and you came back as a ghost, would you, and you were on an EVP meter reader, what would happen there? I mean, that gets complicated. Would you be feeling the other ghosts and then translating it to the person with the app? Man, all kinds of thoughts come to mind. Alright, you guys, I'm out of here. Thank you for the awesome vacation there. To try to help me have better spirits. I mean, they were good spirits, and then all of a sudden, as soon as the show ends, 2 dumbass trolls show up. Man, unbelievable. 3, actually. It's like, man, is that really the best time? Okay, so we got some stuff here for another article today on the Murdochs. And we're going to do that on So Mean Allegedly. Start going over this case. And by the way, I did some cool mapping on it. Let me show you this. In this Stephen Smith murder. I spent a lot of time putting this all together because he was at a night school over here, and then he took this route It's like a 40-mile. It's let's see, what is it? Yeah, almost 50-mile trip. You know, so it probably takes at least an hour. Yeah, just given it's not. I mean, I don't know. Let's say an hour. And then his car was found right here, Stephen Smith. Then he apparently walked. Who knows, though? Nobody knows. This way, because he was heading home. He lived right there at 4220 Joe Miley Road. And he was trying to get to there, so you can kind of see the route he was going to go. He was just going to drive and be home. And he made it exactly on that route from where his car was. And then his body's found. But look at that. This is what was cool. Look at that. I was able to put this little overlay on the ground exactly how they have it. I'll show you this document that they had out there. Hold on. Got to get to the folder, and here it is right here. This is they have two different documents. They have this one, and I took that little image that they have right there, and just to show you, you know, this is what I try to do, get really technical here. Is I took that little image there, and then see this right here, it says 5874 Sandy Run Road. Well, that turns out to be this house right there. Okay. Then they talk about a light pole right here. See, RP1 light pole, and then it gives you measurements. So this is the orientation they're using. And then I was able to look at the shadow right here. I know where the light pole is. So it's the shadow, I think it's right there. That's where I'm choosing. And then I did the same measurements that they had, and then put the body basically on the road where they had it. Okay, they said it was, well, there's actually another one that's interesting because it's the original hand diagram of it.
Collision.
Thank you, JD and Pebs upgrading. So they have it like this. It's upside down. I mean, the other map that we just looked at, they didn't make this one that way though. So it's like this. So now if I flip it around and then zoom in, this is the hand-drawn one. And there we go. See? They have the light pole. So got that all mapped out for you guys for the So Mean Allegedly episode. Hey, thanks Cindy Lynn for showing up. Glad you liked the Colleen interview. Yeah, it's kind of neat how you can do these little overlays in Google Earth. Alright. So that's what I've been working on. There's some really crazy stuff that went on. The first officers that were at the scene thought that there was a gunshot. They said, yeah, it's definitely a gunshot wound. But then they never found the bullet. And I guess that sort of makes a little sense because they said there was a hole in the head, not that there was two holes where there would be an exit. So you should be able to find the bullet inside the head, right? You'd think. And then from the notes from a long time ago, this is just some side thing I'm going to tell you. Way back then, they received an email in reference to this is 2015, to an anonymous tip states, oh man, you can almost make out that name. That blur isn't too good. So I think what it's saying is that Paul Murdoch, maybe, or maybe it says Buster, is that his name? Along with another black male and a white male, Murdoch, okay, so that was another person, are the ones involved in death. So they were saying that the Murdaughs were involved in the death back then, and then after these recent, I don't know if that says Buster because it says along with another black male. This person must be a black person right there. And that doesn't say Murdaugh right there. Yeah. Another would mean that there was two black males and then Murdaugh. And it said, asked if Stephen and Buster Murdaugh ever had any type of relationship. I'd like to see that entire thing. Pretty interesting. Yep. Where are you, Buster? Oh, there goes my stomach. All right, Alex Murdaugh, lawyer, says shooting wasn't self-inflicted injuries. Worse than believed, he says.
Are you tired of being bored at home? Ready to get out and have some fun? K1 Speed is the ultimate adrenaline-pumping experience for...
The Murdaughs are a powerful low-country family. For more than 85 years, a Murdaugh has served as the 14th Circuit solicitor. The reign began in 1920 with Randolph Murdaugh Sr. and ended in 2005 when Randy Murdaugh III retired. Between 1940 and 1986, Randolph Buster Murdaugh Jr. served as solicitor after his father's death, making him the longest-serving solicitor in U.S. history at that time. Randy continues to work as a part-time solicitor for the office, and his son Richard Alexander Murdaugh works as a volunteer prosecutor in the circuit. In South Carolina, a circuit solicitor is comparable to that of a state or district attorney in other jurisdictions. The 14th Circuit Solicitor's Office covers 5 counties in the Lowcountry: Allendale, Beaufort, Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper, and prosecutes 5,000 cases per year, ranging from misdemeanors to serious crimes such as murder and sexual assault. The Murdaugh family has also practiced law in Hampton County for more than a century. Randolph Sr. founded the family firm in 1910 and practiced civil law until he was tragically killed by a train in 1940.
Tragically killed by a train.
Like his father, Buster worked at the Hampton law firm until his retirement in 1987.
These guys are like the Kennedys.
He was known across the state for his booming voice,
and the Kennedys have one death after another,
courtroom prowess, and sending 14 men to death row. The Murdaugh family legacy of law continues with Buster's son and grandchildren. 3 Murdaughs, Randy and sons Randolph IV and Alex, are practicing attorneys at the firm,
and
one of their sons is currently attending law school. The firm, Peters, Murdaugh, Parker, Eltzroth, and Dietrich, which now includes offices in 3 counties, is known for winning multi-million-dollar settlements for clients, mostly in lawsuits related to serious injuries and wrongful deaths. The firm's expansion has only increased the legal power and influence of the Murdaughs in South Carolina, a legacy that began more than 100 years ago.
Yes. So anyways, the lawyer said today that Alec Murdaugh injuries in a September 4th shooting in Hampton County included an entry and exit wound, a skull fracture, and minor brain bleeding in 2 places, his lawyer said Thursday. The wound, he said, was not self-inflicted. Really? Well, they just said they've been saying it's a graze or a superficial wound, so that doesn't match what you're saying. The accounting of Murdaugh's injuries dispute what police have said about superficial gunshot wound and no visible injury, according to Hampton County Sheriff Office report. Murdaugh lawyer Jim Griffin said the report is incorrect. He said a Murdaugh family member told about Murdaugh's wounds. Griffin provided more detail about Saturday's shooting, after which Murdaugh, whose wife and son were killed on June 7th, was airlifted to a Savannah hospital. Griffin said Alex Murdaugh provided the following information to South Carolina Law Enforcement Division. Murdaugh was on Salcatachi Road in Hampton County, September 4th, driving to Charleston. So let me figure that. Let's see, where is Charleston? Did I spell that wrong? No? Okay, so it's that direction, and then he is found right here. Okay, so that means he's heading that direction. Okay. So he's going like this. And if that's true, though, why is he on that side of the road? Maybe, I don't know. Huh. Murdoch was driving to Charleston when he noticed an indicator light that he had a low tire on his car, which was his late wife's Mercedes-Benz. He pulled over and got out of his car when a truck passed him by. The pickup truck turned around at St. John's Baptist Church. So he's heading this direction. Then the car drove by him like this, and then turned around at this church right here, and then drove this direction again. But how come Alec is on that side of the road? And I could have sworn his car was facing... I guess that's... yeah, weird. Why would his car be on that side of the road, though? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Wouldn't he have just pulled over right there? You know, he could have just easily pulled. There's enough room right there. There's no reason to pull over here. Why not go right there? You got a flat tire, you're going to pull over here. Although, I guess if he... depends if it was on the right side, maybe. She's like that. So originally when the car drove by, they should have been window to window. But it almost seems like he turned around here. Hold on, I gotta check something out.
Tonight, the murder mystery shot and someone is unconscious and speaking metal detector. Saturday, they could be seen taking photos of evidence and using casings. WJCL reached out to the Hampton County Sheriff's Office as well as SLED to see if they could tell us if any suspects have been identified or arrested. Both are remaining tight-lipped about the incident. The person told us he's now lifted to Medical University of South. The spokesperson told us he's now conscious. The person told us he's now conscious, and the spokesperson told us the South Carolina in Charleston. The spokesperson told
That's not it.
us he's now conscious and speak.
I can't remember. There was a guy that's making these short podcasts on it, and I don't know what it's called. It's not the Murdoch Murders podcast. That's by Mandy Matney of Fitz News. I'm just trying to find it. This guy did some drone footage out there. Don't know what he called himself, though. Well, if any of you guys find it. Oh, is that it? Okay, let me type that in. Yeah, I think that's him. Okay, that's the one.
Hey friends, a tragedy in Hampton there and got some footage.
Got
Know a whole lot of
audio.
details on it right now as I've been working on video and haven't really been able to watch the news a whole lot. So if you know some details about this.
Oh yeah. So this is the Eric Allen. He's making a podcast on it. Let me put his link in there so you can go check it out. I just want to look at it for a quick. Let me put his link in here though. Hold on. So I'm adding it to the sources section. Eric Allen and this video, so you can go check out the other ones he's doing. All right. I don't know. I think that's his car right there. Or no, this is it. That's his car. Okay. So that's his car. Those are the bullet casings right there. Somehow he was able to get out there. I don't need to see Carolina T's post. I got it. This is him right there. And you got the bullet casings right there. See that? And so that's where his vehicle. So it's facing. It is on that side. So let me go fix my map here. So that's the right place right there, but it's actually about right here. That's the car location. Yep. And there's a pole right there, just like that one. So that's good. Okay, so that makes sense then. Now, what were you wrong about? Anyways, look at it. It goes like right here. So he is heading the right direction. He's on the right-hand side of the road. Then a car comes driving by. And then I guess what's weird is I thought they were window to window before, but it's not. He's facing that way. Then the car turns around, the other vehicle, heads back out, so they're both parallel with each other. And then apparently the person shot at him like 8 times right there. And then there's the vehicle, and here's some... I wonder if that's even on there.
This specific case, please.
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, there's another shot. So it's probably even a little bit further back than that. Probably more like right here. Here, let me check where the yeah, I wonder where he flew that drone from. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yeah. About right there. Alright. Yeah, he's got some, he lives there, so he's in these little drone shots, even at the bridge that the boating accident was at. I don't think you were wrong. I didn't even see what you said, Carolina, too, but yeah. All right. So let me get back to the article. Okay, so he pulled over and got out of his car when a truck passed by. The pickup truck turned around at St. John's Baptist Church and drove back to Murdoch. The driver of the truck rolled his window down, see, there you go, and came to a stop and asked if he had car trouble. Murdoch said he didn't know if he could change the tire nor whether he had equipment to do so, and then Murdoch was shot, according to his lawyer. I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. I think it's all completely invented, and yet his attorney is repeating exactly what Paul told him happened. That's it. Alex Murdoch provided details to SLED sketch artists. The sketch has not been released. Well, why not, man? Why hasn't the sketch been released? That means law enforcement doesn't believe him at all. A spokesperson for Alex Murdoch, Amanda Loveday, echoed Murdaugh's injuries as described by Griffin, and information on potential suspect. We know that SLED is continuing to work diligently to find this person. Yeah, isn't that weird? You guys are working so diligently to find this suspect, yet when Alec woke up after being life-flighted to a hospital after, oh, by the way, getting a ride with somebody to the helicopter pickup location, his first thought was, I've resigned from my law firm and I'm heading to rehab. He didn't say anything about, oh my God, everybody, we got to find who shot me. We got to find out who shot me because they're probably responsible for shooting my mother, or my wife and my son, for God's sakes. No, he wasn't thinking that at all. He's like, well, I'm resigning and I'm checking into rehab. There isn't a soul in the world. That's the first thing that came out of him. It's just not going to happen. Murdoch is in a drug treatment and plans to meet with SLED again after he completes the first phase of his detox. He's not detoxing. He's just, he's going to have to do the, he's going to shake around. This guy's a clown. In a statement released to the public, Murdoch said he would be going to treatment and issued a vague apology to family, friends, and colleagues on Monday before news broke of accusations that he misappropriated money from the law firm. Rumors have circulated about the cause of the shooting, with people speculating whether it was self-inflicted. Griffin denied that, saying he believes what Murdoch reported. There you go. See? That's exactly right. I don't think you choose to have a flat tire or stage a flat tire to commit suicide. Yeah, that's exactly right, because that's not what he was doing, you idiot. Okay? Yeah, that's not what he was doing. I mean, this is my opinion. I mean, I guess it could be true what he's saying. I just don't think so at all. Nothing makes sense about it. And they found the knife used to puncture the tires. How did they find that? So somebody else punctured the tires so that he would have a flat tire and then left it out there to be found to lead back to Alex Murdoch so that some other random person can drive by and see him on the side of the road and shoot him. Right? How did they find the knife that was used to puncture the tires? Griffin said there was no gun found on the side of the road, in Murdoch's car, or in the area by SLED. He also said a SLED agent, right, and see, I actually think my theory is the correct one. I think that it was all forensically set up elsewhere. A car was pulled up, a truck even, next to, I mean, sounds far-fetched, but it's not really when you consider that Alec Murdoch is a prosecutor and knows what needs to take place. So let's just say he pulls his vehicle to his farm somewhere, his hunting ranch, I mean, and then he pulls up a vehicle next to it in the exact same situation, and then you just fire 8 shots from that vehicle at the other vehicle. And then you collect up a few of the shells and whatnot. And then you make a wound to your head somehow. You just kind of make a wound. Then you drive your vehicle out to the scene. And then you throw those 5 or 6 shells that you found on the ground. Leave a couple, you're not going to have all 8 of them. You might 4 or 5 of them, just throw them on the ground. And the bullet holes in the vehicle will match up exactly to what he is claiming, that they were shot from a vehicle. There doesn't even have to be a vehicle there anymore. And then he's like, oh, and he calls and whatnot. But there was somebody had already punctured his tire. It was his knife that punctured the tire. Yeah. Okay, I really think I think that has a very high likelihood of happening. He's like, yeah, you know what? I could even make the forensics line up. We'll just reenact it here, and then I'll just drive over there with bullet holes in my car. Nobody'll notice that. And maybe picks a certain time of day to go there where it's not really that busy, and pulls over, and boom. Actually, I'm curious. It's okay if you guys don't agree. Let's see. The staging theory I just mentioned. Do you... I don't even know what to put. Is this likely? Okay. And, I can't see who's answering, so don't be... Just answer your honest thing. I mean, I have this feeling in my head that this is what he did. That he made it was off-site. It didn't happen there. And then he pulls the car up, throws his shells on the ground, and forensically, the bullet holes would match a vehicle that was up there, and even the bullets might still be in the vehicle. It wouldn't matter. What does that mean, LM? I don't know what that means. That didn't make any sense. Yeah. His car was hit by bullets. There were shells on the ground. I think it was hit by bullets. I thought that's what they said, but there would almost have to be. But wouldn't that be dumb if there wasn't? Like, well, I don't want to ruin the value of my vehicle. I'm not going to hit this damn thing. Yeah, and he's hoping to take law enforcement's heat off of his ass, right? That's what he's trying to do. I still don't... Just type it all in again, LM. Now I don't know. I can't go back up. Yeah, Timmy, Maggie. It seems like it's just all part of the same thing. Poor Paul. His name will never be Paul again. It's just Timmy. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? It's a good theory, but how can anyone know that staging would leave him alive? Well, because the wound on his head isn't... It's exactly what they said originally. Superficial. Not a through and through bullet shot with brain damage. That's bullshit, okay? I'm going to go with what was originally reported by law enforcement, that it was a superficial wound. That makes sense. And that's easy to do. I mean, it could be as simple as just like putting a gun sort of at a really... like a 90-degree angle and just, making it so that there's like a, you might do it like sideways to make it look like you turned or something. Who the hell knows? But let me ask you this. Somebody pulls up to you and you're going to miss them with 8 shots? I think it's hilarious when people go, oh, was he trying to kill himself? He tried to make it look like a suicide, everybody. Yeah, with 8 shots? Wow. Let's see. Whoa, I missed. Oh, man. Oh, and then you graze yourself on the one? Yeah, hit him. Yeah, whatever he wanted to do. Who knows what he did to himself? Oh, you like them? Baked cake? I don't have that one that you put cool there, though. Or the heart one with the eyes. Oh, look at this crazy one. Look at this. This was on Daily Mail today. I'm just switching topics now. Look at this. Do you guys see this thing? Thanks, Jennifer Cocken-Fent.
In the car? All right, partner. He wants to talk to you out here. Is that all you're... Yeah. I'll watch it for you. He's all right. I got babies. Oh, you got a dog too? Hell. I'll make sure they're all right. I got babies too, man. Huh? Okay. Shit! Shit!
So he got hit. He got hit.
Crazy he thinks he's involved with his wife. And
So he hopped back over there and he started pounding the officer with the gun, but the other officer just took that guy out. Oh. Yeah, this guy, he just went over and took that sucker out. Then the guy's running all the way over to the woods over there. Anyways, both officers lived. The officer got hit in the guy ran over with his gun and started pounding him in the head with that damn thing. And this is what the full video would have looked like. See, it's a lot more detail in it. Here's the other officer. And so there was, you know, the actual footage would be a hell of a lot clearer. But yeah, this guy, he just came out and just ended up unloading his bullets into this idiot over here. And then one guy took off. That's just, yikes. Look how scary that is. You know, cops' lives matter too, everybody. You know, they really do. And that's why their job's so difficult. Of course, you know, Black Lives Matter won't come out and protest this thing right here. They're not going to say, yeah, we really feel terrible that happened to those officers. It's only when it's the other way around that it's a big deal. See, this is what sucks right here, right? And it doesn't matter, like the races don't matter here, but it does to the media. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They care. So these could have been any racist shooting, and the cops totally justified in shooting and killing. However, if the story, it's always, when it's ever the reverse of this, it's on the news and made a big deal out of it. And I can't stand it. You know, you're not going to see LeBron James coming out and condemning this, what happened here. You're not going to see any of that. Yeah, it's just, yeah, exactly. That's exactly right, Ambermead. It's, people are bad people. When they're bad people, they're bad people. It doesn't matter what your race is. Yeah. Wow, that sucks, Hottie. Jeez. Man. Yeah, well, there you go. Now, what do you guys think about this? This one. This is kind of like this moral deal. This happened in Madrid. Really? Wow. The entire police force. Wow. Health authorities in Spain are blaming human error for switching of 2 baby girls in a maternity ward almost 20 years ago, after one of them discovered by chance through a DNA test. It was a human error, and we haven't been able to find out who was to blame. The newborns were mixed up in 2002 after being born 5 hours apart at a hospital in La Rioja. They were both in incubators because they were born underweight. One went to live with the people. Let's see. One went to live with the people she believed to be her parents, while the other was raised by a woman she believed to be her grandmother. The switch was discovered by the later girl, the one that lived with the grandmother, about 4 years ago after a DNA test involving child support complaint. See, that person ended up probably living a shitty, it's either one of them would have had to live with the grandmother. But it sounds like that one had a crappy life. Could you imagine what that would be like to be the parent? What would you feel like? Just kind of think about it yourself. Even though you love the person that you raised, I think it would be just devastating to know that there was this, your actual daughter was, I mean, you never even got to raise your actual daughter, and then you're looking at her and she's struggling, and you're just like, I mean, I don't even know how to process through that one, And I don't even have any kids, but I can just tell you, I can feel what that would feel like. You're literally, you love the kid that you're with, but that feeling of, wow, I wasn't able to take care of my actual kid because somebody screwed up, and that's my kid. That's my kid right there. Man. Now 19, the woman who first discovered she had been given to the wrong parents is demanding compensation of 3 million euros. Hell, I don't even blame it. She probably had a really shitty life, it turns out, with just living with the grandmother. All this crazy stuff must have been going on. I mean, obviously she wasn't having a happy life, or she wouldn't be suing. The other child, living with the wrong parents, probably had a good life, went to college, did all the things that you might do. Oh my God, it makes me angry. Yeah, do you guys get angry at this? Yeah, pissed off isn't even the right word. It would be where you'd want to go take a bat and start breaking, skulls with it. It's hideous, How do you make, and by the way, how do you make that kind of mistake? You don't put a little band on their wrist at least? Well, I don't get any of that. I mean, try to type in how you would feel. I know I see you do it, but what would you want to do now that you know about this daughter? I sure as hell hope the original parents are like, hey, whoa, and then trying to help her out. I would. God, it's such a sad. I had this friend, and I became less friends with him after this. See, he was adopted. Well, let's see. Was he adopted? No, he wasn't really adopted. His mom apparently had been with a soldier before Vietnam, and then he was killed in Vietnam, but she ended up having a kid, and this was him. And then he had a different dad and everything. And he found out later that that other dad existed. And he never went and told his grandparents. And I just thought, you're so selfish, It's like imagine the joy, at least, that the parents of the guy that was killed in war in Vietnam, they would have felt like, wow, here's a little piece of our son. He's still there. And he never would give them that, at least that little bit of peace. I don't know. I thought that sucked. I know it's everybody's choice, but I think it's just really selfish at that point. If it was a choice by them to get rid of you, he didn't even know he existed. That's the difference. He wasn't like he decided to give you up for adoption, and then, it's not selfish for anybody. Anybody who's been given up for adoption and you don't want to go find your original parent, that's fine with me. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. But this is a different type of scenario. Anyways, I think this is, it's hideous. It's happened other times, but It sucks when you realize that the other one, she's going through a paternity test. That means, she's having a child with somebody, and that person doesn't really want to be, she's not in a good situation. It's weird to think, what would that girl's life have turned out to be had she been with the correct family? Yeah. Yeah, well, they said technologies and made it so that won't happen again. But how do you even do it before, though? You wrote stuff down on a wristband. What are you guys talking about? What happened to Lee D? What's she talking about? Doesn't seem to be related. Yeah? Oh, they lost your baby. Let's see. They lost my baby sister when she was born. She passed at 10 months. Who lost it? What do you mean? Who was she staying with? Who was the baby staying with? The baby was staying with staff? Man, too much pausing time. Okay. Alright, I'm going to switching it here. So now we've got another update here on...
Tonight at 10.
Remember, we had these guys on as a guest. There was a podcast, and then the father came on.
Desperate for answers about where this mother is. She disappeared 15 months ago. Hello again, I'm Amanda Hall.
And I'm Russ McCaskey. We're glad you're staying with us. Tonight, her story is getting national attention. The Night Beats...
Yeah, I know the hospital staff, but where was it for 10 months before it died?
Chris Safadi's in our studio to explain how. Chris.
Yeah, you'll see her centered right here on the cover of People magazine. Her father tells us they just want anybody with information to come forward and hope that this helps them get some new tips in. 15 months. More than a year without his daughter.
It's a horrible thing. It's probably one of the...
Okay, what home? Your home? So how long was the baby lost for? I need it more concise, like a quick, So the baby was lost, and then you said it was home. Well, whose home? Your home? And if it was at your home, then how long was it lost before it got given back to you? I think we have are we on rewind mode tonight? It's like there's such a huge delay. Okay, so it just was a short amount of time. I see. No, we're not. Well, you are, because you answered that question about 30 seconds after I asked it, Amy. I mean, not rewind mode. Okay. But yeah, we're way behind on a lag. You know, the subscriber thing is really weird. Look how it's just zipping around. Look at that. It was at 63, 861, and then 5 in like a minute, and then it went from 80 something down to... No idea what's going on there. Wait, what? No, that doesn't sound quite right. Nicole. I thought she said that it got lost, and then a few hours later it got taken home, but then it died 10 months later. Okay, so the baby got lost for a few hours, and then taken home, and then it died 10 months later. Yeah, that sucks. What happened? Just some kind of random SIDS or something? Or That sucks. Jeez. Yeah. All right, let me play
The worst things, they're not knowing.
One of the last times anybody saw Lauren DeMolo right here at a Marathon gas station filling out a job application. Her father, Paul DeMolo, just wants answers.
Think about this: if this was one of your children, and this was going on with you.
I like this guy. I remember talking to him now.
Now put yourself in someone else's shoes.
Now her case is getting national attention. Her picture on the front page of People magazine.
It breaks my heart that my daughter's on the front page for that reason. I'd rather be seeing her up there for, something like, a gold medal for the Olympics.
Her dad holds out hope, knowing the detective on the case is giving it everything he's got.
He has children of his own and daughters of his own, and he's been taking this very personal, and I can't thank Detective Jones enough.
But the bottom line, there have been no...
It's weird. You think this one would have been solved given all that information that they have out there? Oh yeah. You know what? This is really weird, you guys. This thing is crazy. You know this case that we talked about? Listen to how this article has in here. It says, a newly unsealed search warrant filed by the Grant County Sheriff's Office in the murder investigation of Moab couple reveals more details about the crime scene. The warrant was served on August 19th after investigators were dispatched to a campsite used by victims Kylan Schultz, 24, and wife Crystal Tuner, 36. The bodies of both victims were found partially clothed in a creek near the campsite, the statement says. I wonder if that just means they were sleeping or something. Or it could be some sexual assault of some kind. The woman's blue Kia Sorento, a camp tent, and a makeshift rabbit shelter were found at what appeared to be a long-term campsite. Investigators were informed that Kylan had mentioned to her friends that if something happened to them, they were murdered, the warrant says. Kylan had continued by saying there was a creepy man around their camp and they had been intimidated by him. Okay, well, so what's weird about this is I called over there. I actually called the, let's see, what was it? Yeah, the Grant County Sheriff's Office, because it says right here that a newly released search warrant. You see that? And I called over there. Oh, well, it's released because ABC News was reporting it, all these different people. So I called over there, and then I talked to this first lady, and she goes, yeah, hold on, let me get somebody. And then one of the detectives came on. I think they were suspicious of me or something, because I was saying, well, listen, I'm looking for the search warrant. And he goes, why? Why do you want to find it? I go, because it looks like you released it. It says a newly unsealed search warrant. He goes, no, we haven't done that yet. We're trying to figure out what happened, Like, that wasn't supposed to be released. This stuff right here. It was a really bizarre conversation. He was like, what's your full name again? Blah, 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 blah. Ooh, look, this guy's, he's inserting himself. No, I'm calling because I want a copy like you gave everybody else, but it turns out you didn't give a copy to any of these other people. I kind of wish I had recorded that. It was like, what the... That was a WTF moment. Yeah, I wanted the same damn thing. Look at. I don't have another one. There was like 3 links. All 3 of them said that they had the unsealed search warrant, and I wanted a copy of it. And that was a really bizarre moment. But I tried to get that for you guys. Unfortunately, I was unable to get it. There you go. Well, this guy named Gray, I told him, yeah, I'm a true crime YouTuber. I just was reading this, and I wanted to see if I get my own copy of it. Well, that's not released. Yeah, we don't know what's going on. We're looking into, Then he wouldn't finish the sentence. I go, you mean that wasn't supposed to be released? Well, yeah, I can't, it got really dumb. It got really weird, the whole conversation. So I just screw it. Now there's no new lead. They're just featuring her on a show. All right, now we're going to just do some random, like what I normally do. Like somebody might send me an article like this. Unsolved, 24 years later, Laura Bova's disappearance still haunts family. Okay, let's see if this exists somewhere. All right, we go to newspapers.com. Might not, because a lot of times missing people don't show up very often in newspaper articles. But over the years, they might, so. So, Laura Bova. You could probably just type that in, and New York, and that should be about it. Didn't spell New York right, so that's probably not going to work. Yeah, well, that's the right person. It's interesting. Pennsylvania has the most. Vermont. Huh. I wonder why she's in Vermont. Let's see what the date was on that. So, June 8th, 1997. This is August 5th. So, if we go back into here and type in June 1997, and then we know that the first disappearance went missing June 8th. So there's 8th, and maybe go to the 11th. Does she show up on this? No. 13th. Nope. 15th. And this is everything. There's no region mentioned. All right. So that was, and then July 3rd. No. But I think it pops up here pretty soon. Wait, maybe that last one. No. Alright, let me go back. Let me just type in 1997 again. That's August. June, July, August. So that was... And this is also August. Well, let's see what it says. Time adds to pain for Lori Bova's mother. This is a Lakewood, New York AP article. God, can't you just read what it says? It's 81%. See that? 81% said yes on that poll. And only 113 people voted. Alright. Time adds to pain for Lori Bova's mother. Time is supposed to heal, but to the mother of a missing woman, time only adds to her pain. Lori Cece Bova disappeared without a trace June 8th. The 26-year-old woman's family has searched for her every day since. Each day gets harder and harder, said Sue Cece. It's not going to be the same until we find Lori. Renee Shutters, Lori's sister, has grown accustomed to her new nightly routine. She grabs a pair of jeans and sneakers and heads to her parents' house. There she meets up with their Uncle Brian, Cece, and other family members, and they go outside to look for Lori until it's too dark to see. While Miss Bova's home let's see, so it is Lori, right? While Mrs. Bova's home in the village is a populated area. Here, let's see if we can. Let me, now that we know she's in newspapers.com, we might as well make a. I think that was the date. I can't remember now. Yep. Alright, now let's look her up on Ben Verified, because that's an early enough, like 1997, you can get stuff on there. And there aren't going to be too many Lori Bova. And yeah, she'd be 50 something, right? What's her full name? Lori C. Bova. There it is. 52. And let's see. What are you referring to, Zozo? Alright, so that's, is this the right, yeah, is this the right town? Hammond? Lakewood. Let me see if there's a Lakewood address in here. There's 16 addresses on here. Nope. That's weird too, because they don't say, this one doesn't say that, well, it's just that she's missing. So I think this is probably the right one. Yeah, no street view in there. That's just down that street off to the right. If that's the same, you know, that's the last known address that I have. Could be totally wrong, who knows. Alright, let's get the article out again. So let's see. Renee Shutters, Lori's sister, has grown accustomed to her new nightly routine. She grabs a pair of jeans and sneakers and heads to her parents' house. There she meets up with her Uncle Brian, Cece, and other family members, and they go outside to look for Lori until it's too dark to see. While Miss Bova's home in the village, so that's probably not the right place that I have, is a populated area. Thick, desolate woods are just minutes away by car. We've put everything else aside, Miss Shutter told the Sunday Post Journal. Miss Bova was last seen at her husband. Okay. by her husband, Tyrone, who told police she walked out of their home after the two argued. So that's never a good sign right there. She left behind her purse, money, cigarettes, and all identification. Yeah, no, that doesn't happen. She just walked out the door, according to her husband. Now, well, who's the 99.9% likely suspect here? So this is what I'm saying. In cases like this, it's not a leap. Although, who knows what's coming up next. But this guy right here would be absolutely... Wow, you got in an argument, and then what? She just went outside without anything? You know? She didn't bring her purse, money, or cigarettes? I mean, look at... If you're a smoker and you got in a fight with your husband, isn't your pack of cigarettes the first thing you grab just about? So you can go out there and, you know, blaze away and try to relax yourself with a couple cigarettes? Right. So there they are. Oh, yeah. True crime wifey said the same thing. All right. Let's see. She just walked out the door, according to her husband, said Lieutenant John Bentley of the Lakewood Busty. She has not tried to withdraw money from her bank account, leading police to suspect foul play. But there's no evidence to suggest what might have happened. Well, I think the fight and her leaving those items at home. As Lori's family searches, her husband has dropped from sight. He will not return phone calls to Lori's mother and his, let's see. As Lori's family searches, her husband has dropped out of sight. Yeah, there you go. He's not talking to anybody. Bova's attorney, Joseph Latona, would not discuss the situation. We would like to know why Tyrone isn't helping Miss Cece said. So what was his name then? Oh yeah, okay. So his last name would be Bova. So let me check this one out. Tyrone Bova, and this would be the city of Lakewood, New York. Yep, he exists. 50 years old. He died, though, in 2018, it looks like. Address history, 1999. Yeah, there is a Lakewood address right there. I think that's going to be it. Watch this. There we go. There we go. That's where they live. 100%. It's the only address that Tyrone Bova has in New York. I mean, it's the same. It's in Lakewood. Yeah, it's right there. And is it an apartment? Oh yeah. And didn't they say that too? Hold on. I think it was an apartment. Populated area with desolate woods are just minutes away by car. Okay. We would like to know why Tyrone isn't helping. Miss Cece said Bova's mother told her that her son cries himself to sleep at night, but that does not explain why he does not call. And oh yeah, there's Lori right there. Interesting. Huh. They actually have this thing where they're starting to make a little bit of a tree on this website, where before they didn't do that. Oh, and actually that's not her middle name. It wouldn't be. Cece was her last name. So that wouldn't be, like, her name is Lori A. Bova. And her let me just make sure what her address says here. There it is, Lakewood, same address, 54 New York Avenue. That's it. Okay, so now we know for sure that Lori and the husband both have the same address, and it's the only address they have in Lakewood. On July 15th, Lori and Tyrone Bova would have celebrated their second wedding anniversary. They had dated since they were 19. And she's only 26 at the time. The couple were close on a house in Jamestown. See, Jamestown are the other addresses in here. So the couple were close on a house in Jamestown, June 30th, and they talked about starting a family. Bentley said police have been interviewing and re-interviewing family members and friends, but the disappearance remains a mystery. Not really. You got the husband, he's not helping anybody. And I guess these are some wooded areas that they're talking about. Yeah, I mean, really tons and tons of wooded area. I wonder if they checked into that. Alright, let me get to that other article that was in there. She's not tried to withdraw money from her bank account. As Lori's family searches, her husband has dropped from sight. It looks kind of similar. The couple were... Bentley said police have been interviewing. It appears to be very suspicious, he said. Yeah. That's basically the same article. So let's see what we got for dates here. Is this the same one? Mr. Joseph Bova. Is that his name? Oh man, this might be significant right here. Hold on a second. No, Tyrone is his name. Well, this is 1997. Phone calls. I mean, who's this guy? This is sort of interesting. Let me just look into this a little bit more. Yeah, it's Tyrone. I'm just trying to look at something else. That's why I said no, it's not him. Yeah, I'm just wondering, there's this insurance deal here, but I can't find I mean, it's a bova, but it's not the same one. Same year, different area. I don't know. It's just kind of wondering. All right, let me click on that. Alright, let's try 1998 now. It's weird. Like they don't really. That was about it. Wait, that's not gonna work. Hold on. So anywhere this could be. All right, so 1999. Huffman then told authorities he had information on the whereabouts of Lori Bova, a Lakewood woman who had been missing since June 1997. He had hoped to trade the information for a shorter sentence, but the skull stolen by Huffman's friend and another man January 15th was taken from an 86-year-old grave at Mount Albion Cemetery. Oh, I see. Forensic tests quickly ruled out that somebody tried to trick law enforcement that they knew where Bovia was. That's okay, Brandy. I mean, it might have helped me too, right? So some jackass named Huffman, Richard Huffman, tried to get a lesser sentence by pretending he knew where her body was, and then had a couple friends take a skull out of a grave to pretend that, oh yeah, look, we found part of it. All right, 2003. Let's see, the con man. Oh, there we go. Then an inmate at the Steuben County Jail, upstate, told local police he knew where to find the body of Lori Bova, 26. Bova had vanished from her Lakewood home after arguing with her husband. Sure enough, along the side of Route 17, near the town of Elliott. Oh, man. So these people went to a grave, took a skull out, put it on the side of a road, so that and told him, Huffman, where it was, so that they could, law enforcement would drive out and find it. Oh my God. So isn't it weird when you go down these little, side trips here? It's crazy. Sure enough, along the side of Route 17, near the town of Ellicott, authorities found a skull and other bones. After tests revealed that the skull was too old to be Bova's, authorities tracked the bones to a break-in of a mausoleum in Mount Albion Cemetery in Orleans County. The state police captain, it turned out they were the remains of a woman who had been buried in 1913 when she was 55. The grave robbers led authorities to Huffman from his jail cell. Huffman had recruited the men using the $10,000 reward that Bova's family was. God, that's so ridiculous. God, who was stupid enough to pretend that? Yeah, so wow, that's crazy. Okay, here's one from, I don't know if that's her. No. That one is. Yeah, that's the same story. That's like the only new story on that one. Let me do 2004 to 2010. Alright. 2006. Hunters find human remains. The finding stirred speculation. The body could be that of Yolanda Bindix, a 25-year-old mother of four who disappeared after leaving work in Jamestown in August 2004, or Lori Cece Bova, 26, who was last seen in June 1997. It's got to be a painful time for the families of Bindix and Bova, and we want to get answers. I don't think they found anything. Guess she's still missing. Alright, let me try. Yeah, I don't think so. Good night, Jennifer Cochran Fent. All right, so here's the article from yesterday. Lori Bova, 26, went missing June 8, 1997. Her husband, Tyrone Bova, told police they had a fight that summer night. He reported that Lori went out for a walk. This is so similar to that other case in Indiana where the lady was at the house, got in an argument, left, and then they found her body in this little tiny creek near the home. I don't remember the name of the case, but it's almost identical, like leaving the exact same items at the house. Let's see. Before the alleged fight, the Lakewood Busty Police Department says Tyrone and Lori went out to dinner at a Red Lobster. Hey, thanks, I Hate Chocolate. We were in one of those other lulls again. I was trying not to put myself in prison. Thank you. Before the alleged fight, the Lakewood Busty Police Department says Tyrone and Lori went out to dinner at Red Lobster. So they went out to dinner. Let's see where that is. That's probably... The Red Lobsters don't leave. They're always there. Let's see. Yeah. And that's not far away from their house at all. There it is. The Red Lobster. Right there. Went out to dinner at Red Lobster on Fairmount. Let's just make sure that that's what this is here. Yep, Fairmount. So very close to where they live. Probably not even a mile, I would imagine. 1.01 miles as a crow flies. So maybe 1.25 driving. So let's see. According to Renee, Lori seemed tense throughout. Okay, before the alleged fight, the Lakewood Busty Police Department says Tyrone and Lori went out to dinner at Red Lobster on Fairmount Avenue to celebrate her sister, Renee Shutter's promotion. According to Renee, Lori seemed tense throughout the evening. Lori worked at K Jewelers with her other sister, Jennifer Shields. Let's see where that is. Ah, right there. So, right there in the mall. You missed everything, Brianna. You'll just have to watch it tomorrow. I know you're watching Summer Wells stuff, but you're going to have to come back tomorrow. Hey, welcome, Monica Foster. I'm late. What did I miss? Give me a break. Like 1,000 different cases. I mean, you know, like if I was an auctioneer, I couldn't tell it to you in 10 minutes. All right, let me tell you what happened. Okay, here we go. Let me see if I can do it. I'm gonna give it. Okay, first of all, Colleen Fitzpatrick came on and talked to us about the Bibb County John Doe. Then we talked about Double O. Then we talked about this other guy getting shot by the police officers outside of a car. And then we had another case where the guy went and they walked out on the street and the guy went. Okay, that's it. All right. I tried my best for you, Brianna Banana, but if you couldn't follow that along, just watch it tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? You knew it, right? I know. It makes sense, though, right? I said it. Even an auctioneer. I kind of foretold that, though, didn't I, Amy Fountain? Well, even an auctioneer. I couldn't say it in 10 minutes. Well, then, of course, that's coming up next. Yep, all caught up now. Excellent.
Gosh, great. You're so mean to people. They just wanted to get caught up. Ooh.
Are you saying that I'm mean? Oh, well, there we go, everybody. Unfortunately, for all of you, that means a stint in the jail. Although what I should put in the jail is... hold on a second. Where is that? Who said that? Just a minute. Okay. Where is it? There we go. You are in jail. Brianna Banana. Look at Brianna Banana is in prison. Are you guys going to help her get the hell out of there? There's the lead D. All right. You are in jail, Brianna Banana. Oh, there was all kinds of stuff going on there. Are you guys going to bail Brianna Banana out of jail or what? What's going on here, everybody? She is in prison for coming so late. Oh, that's pretty funny. Help, she said. Look at that. She says help with a bead of sweat coming down the eye there. All right, she bought you
cigarettes for black market.
She bought you, Brianna, a pack of cigarettes. Even if you don't smoke, you might need them. Oh, you got some ramen? Paisley Dreams? Okay. All right. I'll let you out of your prison. Okay. There you go. Now the rest is to get me out. Okay, good. I think that helps out. That helps out. It's called bail. It's called bail.
Some ramen.
Some ramen. You know what? I think the taco is sort of becoming one of my favorite deals. Don't you guys like that one? Oh, I see. Yeah, cigarettes are currency. Yeah. All right, I can get out of here. Thank you, guys. All right. Yeah, it's something about that. I saw the taco and then I found that music on there too. Yeah, the UFO is the best one though. It's a weird number. It has to be between $20 and 1 penny to $49.99. Then the UFO plays. I need to have more of those, like, you know, these ones that are really rare. Emoji for toilet wine. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but you like the taco anyways, right, Jen B? I mean, you just don't want to eat it. Alright, so let's see what it's saying here. Before the alleged fight, the Lakewood Busty Police Department says Tyrone and Lori went out to dinner at Red Lobster, and that's her right there, on Fairmount Avenue to celebrate her sister Renee Shutter's promotion. According to Renee, Lori seemed tense throughout the evening. Lori worked at K Jewelers with her other sister Jennifer Shields. After she called Renee, Jennifer said Lori was very close with their entire family. After she called Renee, she called my mom, and then after that she would call me, or if I was at the store, she would just talk to me there. But she called everybody, every day, Jennifer said. Lori's sister say it didn't make sense that she would wander off alone so late. Right. She was scared of the dark, Jennifer said. I worked with her, and she wouldn't even take the garbage out at the end of the night without somebody with her because she was scared of the dark. See, this is just all important information. Former Lakewood Busty Police Department Sergeant Paul Gustafson, whatever the hell you want to say, dedicated the majority of his career to Lori's case. He was on duty as a patrolman the day Tyrone reported Lori missing, and even now, in retirement, has not given up hope that the case will be solved. In the days after the missing person report was filed, things developed very rapidly. Multiple police agencies assisted us with searches by land, air, water. We had a great deal of community support from family members, surrounding communities, and friends. We've never considered Tyrone a suspect. What? He's a person of interest, however. Okay. Yeah, shut the hell up, okay? That's ridiculous. As I've said, we've had several persons of interest. It is still, to this day, an open missing persons case. We do not have... I wonder if she must be on the Charlie Project then. She has to be. Yeah, right there. Lori's sister told Two on Your Side that Tyrone Bova passed away a few years ago. Yep. 2018, we just saw that. After moving out of state, leaving the family without answers. The biggest prayer we have is if we could find her so that we could have the information and at least get some closure. Well, there's no such thing. Jennifer added, we all know and believe in our hearts who is responsible. In my mind, I guess I'm thinking, if that's over, he has all the information. He's not going to jail. That chapter is closed, so we need to find her. We believe maybe somebody has some kind of information out there now that Tyrone is dead, and they would find more feel more comfortable coming forward if they do know. If he did tell anybody, he won't know, but that's our hope. If he did tell anybody, he won't know. Oh, right, because he's dead. Let's see what the Charlie Project said. Lori, her husband Tyrone, and her sister went to dinner at Red Lobster on Fairmount Avenue. On June 7th, 1997, Lori and Tyrone departed the eatery at approximately 10:30 p.m. Her husband told authorities that he and Lori had an argument after they returned to the apartment on New York Avenue. Let's make sure now. And that's 54 New York Avenue. So that 100% now. Everything is all dialed in and true. There's nothing on here is not the reality. Alright, so is it this one? Yeah, New York Avenue. So these are the apartments they lived in right here. To their apartments on New York Avenue at 2 o'clock a.m. on June 8th. That's when they returned from Red Lobster. On June 8th, Lori went outside to smoke a cigarette, but what, didn't take the pack? Yeah. She never returned and has never been seen again. Tyrone notified family members of her disappearance a few hours later, and they searched Lakewood in their cars before calling police. So he did call a few hours later. So he, all he'd have to do was strangle her to death, put her body somewhere, come home and say, oh, wow, she never came back in after smoking. Several months after Lori's disappearance, a clump of long human hair was found, in Chautauqua Lake, and authorities searched the water for her remains. Well, do they have that hair? They can do genetic testing on it. No evidence was found, and the hair turned out not to be hers. Okay, there you go. She left her purse, money, and identification behind. Why mention that story then? What does that have to do with anything? No evidence was found, and the hair turned out not to be hers. She left her purse, money, and identification behind, and cigarettes, don't forget that. And since her disappearance, she hasn't withdrawn any money from her bank account. At the time of her disappearance, Lori worked at K Jewelers at the local mall. Tyrone never cooperated with the investigation and is considered a person of interest, but no charges have been filed against him or anyone else. Lori's mother died in 2010 without ever learning her fate, but her father is still alive. Tyrone remarried, and her disappearance in remarried after her disappearance. In 2018, he, his second wife, and one of their younger sons were all killed in a car accident. Wow. I'd say karma, but that's kind of bullshit for the kid and the wife. Lori's case remains unsolved, and she's considered missing under suspicious circumstances. Well, there you go, everybody. Crazy. That was just see how, like, that one just random article, though, we were able to go back in time, find some of the original stories, and, we got a couple little bits of other information, like the cigarettes. All right. I'm gonna try to do this other one. Well, what time? We've been at 2 hours and 57. I can do it.
2 decades since a Clearwater boy vanished in the middle of the night without a trace. Detectives still working to crack the case as his family continues to search.
This is Clearwater, Florida. Zachary. This is wow. This happened on 9/11. Isn't that crazy? No, 2001, but it was September 11th, 2000. But a year before 9/11 on September 11th. All right. Yep. Now there you go. See, these are some of the original searches right here. Let me, so this is September. Okay, the 13th looks like the first time there was newspaper articles. Zachary Bernhardt has seen plenty of turmoil in his 8 years. He and his mother are facing eviction from their home. His father isn't around. He watched a man attack his mother in their apartment. But as the search wow, I actually sort of wonder if he was a witness to something. And the search intensified Tuesday for the boy who disappeared from his apartment early Monday. A portrait emerged of a bright, happy youngster who excelled in school despite his family's difficulties. In September 1998, Zachary's mother, Leah Hackett, wrote in a court document that a friend barged into her St. Petersburg apartment, pushed her, and ripped off her shirt in front of her young son. My son is scared, Hackett wrote in a successful request for an injunction against the man who had been her friend and boss. Oh boy. At Savannah, so this could be the person, right? I mean, at Savannah Trace Apartments. Oh shit! I gotta do this just like the rest of them. Hold on. I'm just going to put this date for now, the 13th, but I think it's probably more like the 12th or something. St. Petersburg's apartment. Okay. Well, that's probably it right there. Avanti St. Petersburg Apartments. Okay. Wrote in a court document that a friend barged into her St. Petersburg apartment. Oh, that's not what it's called. It was called something else. That was the location. At Savannah Trace Apartments. Sorry. Oops. That was close. Okay. Savannah. How do you spell that? Trace. There. No. Oh, there it is. It's not far from there, though. Welcome, Brianna Banana. Although that said Savannah Apartments, is there a Savannah Trace apartment? No. think that's probably going to be it. Fitpatrick's apartments in Clearwater, where Hackett now lives. Okay, let me try that. Oh, where's Clearwater? Now, Clearwater's way over here, so I don't know. That's not even... I don't think that's right. Hold on, let me just make sure I'm reading this right. I feel like I'm bumbling around. At Savannah Trace Apartments in Clearwater, where Hackett now lives, officials... Okay, so it is... In September 1998, was in court documents, a friend barged into her St. Petersburg apartment, pushed her, ripped off her shirt in front of her young son. My son is scared, Hackett wrote in a successful request for a protection order. At Savannah Trace Apartments in Clearwater, where Hackett now lives, officials have started eviction proceedings because she is behind in rent. Court records also show that in November 1998, Hackett's roommate evicted her from a High Point apartment. The roommate threw Hackett's furniture out of the apartment and changed the locks. Man, what a nightmare. Where is she finding these people? Over the past 14 years, public records list 11 different addresses for Hackett, who has cared for her son with no involvement from his father, police said. Alright, so what's her full name? Leah Hackett. Let me get this. Yeah. Leah Hackett. Clearwater, Florida. And how old was she then? This is probably her. 50 years old. That makes sense. 2000. Probably 30 at the time. With an 8-year-old, yeah. 16 addresses. Alright. So here is... Okay, this might... I think this is it right here, because it's... This is from 2000 to January 2001. This address right here in Clearwater. It's right there. Alright, but she also lived in another Clearwater, but it said, well, that one actually has 1999 to 2003, so let's see where that one is. That doesn't really look like an apartment though, so. Yeah, so I think we have the right one, because it's the only apartment in Clearwater right there. Yeah, man. I can't stand apartments like this. Just too many people just Is that not even the entrance? Or man, what a nightmare that is. I wouldn't want to live there. All right. Anyways, the apartments in Savannah Trace Complex. Okay. And now let's see. 29. Now, if I just kept reading, it would have given me the address. Over the past 14 years, public records list 11 different addresses, but Zachary seemed unaffected. Neighbors at the complex and a school official described him as a smart, well-mannered child. The apartment in the Savannah Trace Complex. Okay, 2690. So that's a little different than the one that we have up here. 2690. She might not have been there long enough for it to be recorded. Drew Street. Oh, well, that is it. I guess that is the same apartment. It's actually the same damn building that they... That's weird. Totally different address, though. No, it was... I had the right one. 2690 Drew Street. I had a different address for the second apartment up here. So it is 2690. Okay, so we had the right one. Anyways. Looking him up in public records. Pretty sweet. Hackett, who was with her 4 sisters and mother Tuesday, has declined to talk with reporters, officials at Full Spectrum Communication, where she works. I mean, how did he go missing now? Police said they have no indication of foul play. More than 60 people from 6 agencies, including the FBI Tampa, officers and fire officials using all-terrain vehicles. At Eisenhower Elementary School, where Zachary is a third grader, teacher told his classmates he was missing and answered questions. He was her whole world, Eubanks said. Neighbors said Zachary played outside with other children, but let her mother know where he was and obeyed her instructions about returning home on time. He's a good boy, said neighbor Susan Dalton. He always speaks to you when he passes. Hackett is not being investigated for neglecting the boy. Now we're in a Summer Wells type situation here, right? Like, just, a lot of weird shit going on. I bet you people ran with all the wild stuff in the background. He said Hackett denied she had been away from her apartment until 3 a.m. Monday, as a neighbor alleged. There's no reason to even explore that. She never left her complex. We're not looking at that at all. Nancy Sackett, administrator of the Child Protection Investigation Division, said investigators usually take the reports when children younger than 10 are left home alone. Once we start investigating, we look at things like whether this is a routine thing and how responsible the child is, how long a child was left, the propensity for it happening again, where the parent was, and the maturity of the child are among the things investigated, she said. Huh? I don't know what you're talking about, Nene. Oh, jail just means that you did something bad, and I usually get put in jail. But I figured out a way to put you guys in jail too. Yes, she was on here earlier. Yep, you missed it. You were probably watching Summer Wells. Let's see. We got the September 13th. I'm going to pick another day, the 14th. Actually, the 13th. Did we look at that one? Yeah, we saw that one. So that's the boy right there. What are you talking about? I don't get it. Pamela, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Is he live right now? Oh, I see. Let's see. Leah Hackett hugs her son Zachary Bernard in this photo. So that's the mother now. Now you can see. Oh man, we gotta cross this one out right here. We gotta. So that's the mother right there, and that's the son. Yeah, I like John Lorden. Yeah, he's one of my. You know, I think he's one of the better video makers there is out there in true crime. You know, the actual videos. Reading from handwritten notes, Leah Hackett pled Wednesday for searchers to find her missing 8-year-old son. Yeah, you kind of wonder if it was one of these people that stalker person that had the restraining order filed against him. And he came back to exact his revenge. What do you think about that? Yeah, we don't let's see. Yep, a lot of people are gems out there. Yep, a lot of people are gems. Not sure where this is. Kind of just depends on who you like to watch. Let me go back to the. I'm going to go a different date here. Well, you know what? Let me just read this article here. I mean, I'd like to go back in time. I just want to see what they're saying on here. It was 21 years ago when Clearwater went missing and the case still remains unsolved. Clearwater police said they are committing to finding out what happened to the 8-year-old Zachary Bernard when he went missing and believe someone out there knows something. On September 11, 2000, just before 5 a.m., Zachary's mother called to report he was missing. It's kind of a weird time to call, don't you think? At the time, Clearwater investigators said the disappearance was suspicious. Because that's such a strange time to call. Like, how did you know that he was, you know, what were you doing? He didn't even have a working bicycle. So to say that somebody at 8 years old gets up and just leaves at 4:47 a.m., I think it would be outside the norm. Despite poring over evidence and following up on hundreds of leads, there still is no trace of Zachary. Someone that has watched him go back and forth to school from where he went, she said. This is what she's saying. So, Billy Jo Jimenez, Zachary's aunt, previously said she believed that he was abducted. Someone that has watched him. Doesn't it? God, it's weird how similar this sounds to the recent case, right? School from where he went, she said. So they think, oh yeah, he was abducted, you know. It makes sense, right? But, you know, she also involved herself with some really shitty people. You don't want to live this nightmare. It's a nightmare. It's not something you want to do. Zachary remains listed as an active Amber Alert with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. He is listed as one of 7 missing and endangered, the longest running Amber Alert in the state. So if you have any information on it, call the Clearwater Police Detectives at 727-562-4242. Yeah, he was really covered a lot. Jeb Bush. Listened to during a news conference in Tampa Monday. The women are from, the aunt, his grandmother, and another aunt. So what happened to the mother? She just stays out of it? Yeah, we know. True crime wifey, yeah. I like how people just type in stuff just to type it in. Come on. Everybody knows that. Remember? Hey everybody. Water is H2O. Hey, it's raining outside today. Look, the ground has dirt. Yeah, a lot of crazies over there. Zachary Bernhardt disappeared from the bed of his Clearwater apartment at 4 a.m. September 11, 2000. Let's see. The twins just turned 11, and they're at the age where they want to go off without adults, Carol Bernhardt said. So he was just in his bed and somebody came in there. Remember she said that somebody broke into her apartment and threw her down and then she filed a restraining order? I don't know. Sounds like it's just this really... It's very similar. You got to admit, like, that is kind of similar to this case that everybody... the Summer Wells case, you're just there and you're gone. And then the family goes, oh, it was an abduction. But right in front of you, you've got somebody that's not really cooperating and pretty, really shaky living situation for the kid. I mean, a really crappy household. So you sort of wonder, But who knows? And where is she? Is she not alive anymore? The mom? You have aunts and everybody else up there talking, but and by the way, I'm just ribbing you, true crime wifey. Don't worry. Just goofing around. I just think it's funny. Like you see what I'm talking about. When people type in stuff like, all right, everybody, I'm going to go get something to eat. I'll be back in a few minutes. Listen, nobody cared, okay? Nobody cared at all. You could have just quit typing for a few minutes and came back and started talking again, and everybody would go, nobody's missing, people pretend that, like, they're running the chats or something. Like, they're in there and they're just, I'm not referring to your specific incident, by the way. I'm just riffing off of that now. Talking about Bush. It's not really related. But, how people go, all right, you guys, I'm back. Hey, I'm back now. Yeah, like we type in like this. Hey, I am back, everyone. Yes. Look, hey, I'm back, everyone. Okay, here's the thing. Nobody cared. All right? Nobody was sitting around going like this. Watch. God, is Jimmy gonna comment again? Hold on, let me just. Oh God, okay. They're back. Thank you for letting me know. I wasn't gonna comment anymore. Yeah. What happened, Heather? Are you okay? Yeah. All right, you guys. I think that's going to be it. But I did power through that one. Not really a ton of stuff to say about it or anything, but Yeah, it was a pretty big story back then, but not much. You know, just really simple information, and then that's it. There's no extra. You know, maybe over the years, theories developed and whatnot, but that's what always happens when there's a lack of information. Yeah. I'm not saying that's what, that's not, I wasn't a good example of what, you know, saying Jeb Bush was the governor there. I mean, remember he was the one that was there when the Al Gore, aren't you? Thank God Al Gore didn't win, though. God, thank God. Jesus. Think about that guy. You know what? One of the funniest things that ever happened was, do you guys remember when Al Gore was debating Bush? And Gore is tall, like he's probably, you know, I don't know, 6'4" or whatever. And George Bush is probably not even 6 feet, right? And Gore tried to walk over and stand next to him to try to show, like somebody told him to do that. Like, hey, go stand next to him and show that you're much taller. People respect that you're taller and everything. So he walks over there and Bush just went, hey. Anyway, and he goes right on to the, oh God, it was, that's got to be out there. Hold on a second. It was the, is that it? Let me just see. Ah, crap. That's not, you can't see it. I want that moment. Let's see. Al Gore walks towards. That's got to be. Somebody had to have made a video on that. Oh yeah, there you go. That was great.
That's what the question in this campaign is about.
Right here.
It's not only what's your philosophy and what's your position on issues.
Look at, he's trying to be like.
But can you get things done? And I believe I can.
Oh, he just.
What about the Dental Norwood bill?
All right, we're going to go now. I'm not quite through. Let me.
Oh, that's the greatest thing in the world, man. Oh, he just made him look like an idiot. Yeah. Wow. You're a fool, dude. Come on, you got to admit that's pretty funny. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. That was the greatest thing in the world, man. Here, one more time, just for good times. Look at this.
That's what the question in this campaign is about. It's not only what's your philosophy and what's your position on issues, but can you get things done? And I believe I can.
All right. What about the Dental Norwood bill?
Who gives a shit, Gore? You know, like you're just. Oh God, that was the greatest. I don't know why that's funny to me, but it's funny regardless baked cake though. You know, it doesn't really matter. All right.
Thank you to Cindy Leon, Pebs W, Emily Flotilla, LMLM, Lee D, D&K Reck, Cindy Leon, Zozo, Carolina T, Emily Flotilla, Linda Howell, as in Linda Molden, avocado, mutilations, and crop circles. Living it, as in living the dreams. Noel Girl, Emily Flotilla, Colleen Fitzgerald, with a cat eye, Katie B, Kathy Freidenmaker, Nicole Wilson, Jen D, Jim H, Ellen, Linda Howell, Shiggy England, Kathy Freidenmaker, Emily Flotilla, William Zambrano, Carolina Girl, Hunter Deal, Jacqueline Keeley, Living It, TTJO Tracy, JD, Jennifer Cochran Fed, I Hate Chocolate, Lee D, Emily Flotilla, Connie Lee, Paisley Dreams, at Carolina Girl. Oh, thank you to Charleston Amy on PayPal. And Lori O'Byrne.
Well, I won't say who that is in there, so you don't know who the hell I'm talking about. But it's hard to read these sometimes. Anyways, thank you, everybody. Thank you. And at least I didn't say the corresponding names. Let's see. But I apologize if I can't say names. All right. Is there anything else in there? I got like tons of emails during the show. It's crazy. Yeah, we already went over that. Gen B, we already talked about the toxins about a week ago. All right. Well, anyways, thank you guys for showing up tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed Colleen being on here the first hour. Seemed like she was pretty busy. You know, she wasn't her normal chipper self, but she's got a lot of stuff going on at this point. So at least she came on and gave us some updates. All right, everybody. So thank you very much, and we will be seeing you guys tomorrow. All right. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, thug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gregor's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector, fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody, talk to you.
Where do we go? Where do we go? Yay! Ooh, boy. Hey, a new place. Look at that, a new one. Red Desert, but a new place. No, there's not gonna be a valley. Valley doesn't do good. Wow, look at all the detail in there, everybody. Gee. Oh, thanks, Gray. These little campers, whoa!
you mind if I say thanks?
Well, I wanted to, Gray.
Okay, I know. That's why you said it, right?
I know, Gray, but God, why can't I do what I want? Jeez, just leave me alone.
Oh, boy. Forget it, Mary Lou. Forget it. That's it. All right. I like this place. I gotta lay down a pin here or something. Hold on a second. Man, this is a weird one. It looks totally different than the other one. Just a minute now. Flyby. Put that in there with that one. And then hide it. Oh yeah. There we go. Yeah, that's not what I wanted to do. It's that. Yeah, look how weird that little segment was right there. Was there more right there? That's the non-3D area there. They just happened to map that one spot right there. And we just happened to randomly find. Where is this? This is Eagle Mesa in, don't know. United Airlines Flight 93 was a passenger flight that was hijacked. What's this got to do with anything? Forget it. Alright, you guys. Anyways. Oh, man, I don't even know if I saved that. But, well, we'll find it again. Shit. Alright. We'll see you guys tomorrow, everybody. Sorry my show was a little bit disjointed, but it was hard to... At least we got onto some cases there. I did have the backup plan, just depending on how long Colleen was on there. So, thank you, Colleen, for coming on. Looks like we're making some progress in the Bibb County case. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, all right? So, in the meantime, everybody, as I always say, be safe out there.